Ape Escape is a game I have played a tiny amount of, about 11 or 12 years ago at my ex's house. It was one of those series I was always a little aware of, since this game was always advertised on the back of PS1 boxes and the like. I have played Ape Escape 2 all the way through back in around 2015 and thought to myself that I should get around to playing the others. Almost a decade later is as good a time as any. Although I did seem to get this series mixed up with another, as for years, I want to say until about 2011 or 2012, I thought there were 4 Ape Escape games on the PlayStation 1 alone. I have fake memories of an uncle's PS1 box advertising Ape Escape 4 on the back, but then I learned that Ape Escape 2 is on the PS2, and there was never a game called Ape Escape 4. I have no clue what the game I was actually looking at was. So I'm playing this downloaded on the PlayStation 5. Also available for download on the PlayStation 5 is Ape Escape P, the PSP remake, or Ape Escape on the Loose if you're American. I heard the remake is still very similar to the original, so I thought it would be interesting to cover both versions back to back, swapping between them. However, there was less difference than I was expecting, at least in terms of things I can comment on, but there will be moments where I get collectibles on the PSP earlier than on the PS1, due to me having already done a full playthrough by the time I was playing the PSP version. The game's opening sums up the game's plot. The white monkey, Spectre, who lives in an amusement park, has somehow wound up with the Peak Point helmet. This makes him impossibly intelligent, but a side effect of the helmet being a prototype is that it turns him into a bit of a dick. He gives smaller versions of the helmet to all the monkeys in the park and breaks them out. This story then continues into the first cutscene after starting a new game. It starts with these kids running down the road. So one notable thing about this series is that it has 2 different English localizations, one for America and one for PAL regions with a UK based voice cast. But the whole series localization for PAL regions is very inconsistent, especially with the names. So in both English versions the main character is named Spike, but his blue-haired friend is named Buzz in PAL regions or Jake in America. Starting with Ape Escape 2, later games will generally revert to the Japanese names of the PAL versions, but there'll still be the odd time where the old English names will be used again, as we'll soon see. Spike and Buzz are running to the Professor's house, excited to see whether he has finished his time machine yet. When they get inside, they see the Professor, who also built the Peak Point helmet, and his granddaughter Katie, or Natalie in the American version, tied up. Spectre makes some kind of command to a monkey and it activates a time machine. And all the helmeted monkeys, Spectre, and Spike and Buzz get sucked in and displaced all over time. The Professor isn't too concerned, more excited over knowing his time machine actually works. Once he's untied, he does send a message through time to Spike to let him know what's going on. He's about to land in the prehistoric era. The monkeys meanwhile are all over time, and they need to be taken back to the present to prevent total disruption of history. He lets Spike have 2 of his inventions, the time net for capturing the monkeys and the stone club for beating them with. But before getting started, let's quickly nip over to Ape Escape P. The opening cutscene is exactly the same in terms of animation, but we now have subtitles which is appreciated. The entire game was redubbed and the actors are actually credited. To this day the UK cast of the PS1 version is unknown. And despite the PAL versions having switched back to the Japanese names, in P they're back to their original names, with 2 exceptions. First is Buzz, who is now going by his American name Jake, and then there's Katie. She's the only originally renamed character in this localization to keep her Japanese name Natsume. It's all needlessly complex. Graphics are updated and more advanced, going for a more cel-shaded look, and it is superior to the PS1 on a technical level, but I feel the upgrade isn't big enough for me to prefer it. It looks a bit blander, with the blockier PS1 models having more character to me. Also, the Professor had a German accent on the PS1, but is English on the PSP. It's the only real noteworthy comment I have on the new voice cast apart from the fact it's generally better and the voice is more fitting. Now back to the PS1 for the first stage, Ancient Lake. At the start of every level I'm told by Casey, an AI made by the Professor, how many monkeys I need to catch for the first clear of the level, along with the amount of Spectre coins that are in it. The Ancient Lake has 4 monkeys, but I only need to capture 3 to clear it. While the PS1's DualShock controller had been around for a couple years and become standard at this point, this is the first game to require said controller, as the entire game was built around it. Your items are set to the face buttons, it's how you switch between them, but actually using the items is done with the right control stick. So with my club and net I can have a more precise aim without the need to tilt my character first. Jumping with R1 takes a bit to get used to though. Right in front of me is my first enemy, a Natsuan. You can see it's been nearly a decade since I've played one of these, since I struggle hitting this. Killing it gets me some health. I get chasing this monkey that runs off and drops banana peels behind them. Get close enough and he'll start throwing fists. Each monkey is named, and the 3 I can catch right now are called Blair, Cruz and Fruity, but I can't remember which is which. I should say that multiple guides I looked up, along with the Ape Escape wiki, can't decide which monkey is which on a few levels, so there are bound to be a few mistakes. In fact, I'm certain there are. It's not long before I stun him and catch him. This PS5 release adds trophies, and so catching my first monkey gets me Rookie Catcher. There's another monkey near the trees and I catch him too. The third is near these rocks and doesn't take long at all. That clears the level for now. These were the only 3 I could catch, as the 4th one is inaccessible with my current equipment. At the end of every stage I have Katie telling me I did good. After every stage I'm dropped off at the time station. Here I can save, check my records, practice with my current items and play some minigames when I've collected enough Spectre coins. Before moving on, I very quickly return to Ancient Lake. There are chips lying around all the levels, 100 of them for an extra life. I'm here to climb the trees, one of them holding my first Spectre coin. Getting my first one gets me the trophy Penny Pincher. Now for the Ape Escape P version, going by the American name Fossil Field. This one also had trophies added to it, and just for landing in the first level I get Lost in Time. There's completion tied to killing every enemy at least once in this version, so I make sure to kill a Natsun. Because the PSP has only 1 stick and 2 shoulder buttons, the game had to be changed to follow a more traditional control scheme. Face buttons now use the item instead of just equipping them, and I can only have 3 equipped because X has to be used for jumping with the shoulder buttons needed for the camera. With some items it doesn't bother me, with others it does, but it does mean certain items have less precision to them. I catch the first monkey, the second monkey, grab the Spectre coin, and get killed by a Natsun on the first level because I'd just come off the full 100% PS1 playthrough and was really struggling to get used to the controls. Then I catch the third monkey. The monkeys have different names on the PSP, with a few getting renamed again for the PAL version. Here these 3 are Iton, Ainz and Zeus. The time station has a couple new things, but I'll get to them when they're relevant. I can check and see that I'm now at 2% completion. Back to the PS1 so we can move on to Raining Lake. Before I can start the level, I get a message from Katie and the Professor saying that they've completed their next gadget, the Water Net, which allows me to catch underwater monkeys. With every new gadget I'm given, I have to complete a short training stage with it. First, I just have to swim across this pool. I have an air meter and can ascend and descend and also speed up. Then to get used to diving and ascending, I have to swim under a waterfall through a tunnel. Then comes actually using the net. Clicking the right stick underwater fires a net. I have to catch this fake monkey to open the door out of here so I can start the level. I also get the trophy, Get Wet. Raining Lake has 6 monkeys, but I only have to catch 4. Already we have a level that is much more complex than the very basic Ancient Lake. Straight away I can see a monkey right in front of me across a bridge, but instead I turn around and jump into the water where I can see one splashing about. I catch Mermaid with my first shot at the water net. I dive below the rock I started on to find this level's Spectre coin. I swim near the shore and climb the platforms to catch the first monkey I saw, BC, but he's already ran off by the time I move the camera to look at him. He swam to the shore, but I catch up quickly and get him. Nearby is a tall rock, but I have a double jump so I could just reach. Up here I catch Tum Tum. Near this large log I get my second enemy. Zuka pop out of the ground to spit rocks at me. I can see a monkey across this narrow bridge and a mailbox that teaches me how to crawl. The monkey is relaxing and doesn't notice me crawling up to him. I catch Sleepy to clear this level for now. That gets me to 4.1% completion. I do like being updated on my percentage every time I save and seeing it slowly go up. Now for the PSP version, called Primordial Ooze. Training level goes pretty much the same, but now the water net is called the Aquanet, except for the last mailbox which calls it the original name again. I catch the same monkeys but in a different order. BC is now Duo, Tum Tum is now Jean, Sleepy is now Luther, I grab the Spectre coin, and Mermaid is now Richie. Now for the final level of the prehistoric era, Dinosaur Valley. 7 monkeys here, but I only need 4. This is the level I remember from my few short times playing this game. I go up the ramp and then through the gate to another screen. However, I'm blocked by a gate that I can't open yet, so it's back out and behind the waterfall into the ruins where I take Chimpo by surprise and catch him. Jumping across to the other side of the waterfall is Gymnast doing a handstand. He doesn't notice me and I catch him easily. Nearby is the moving platform I use to reach a higher level. Up here is a slope too steep to run up, but some stairs next to it I can climb. There's a pterodactyl nest up here and all the eggshells can be flipped by hitting them. One of them is wobbling, so I hit it to reveal Twitcher. He'll run off and try to hide behind other shells, but I eventually get him. The Spectre coin is at the top of the slope I just climbed past. Past the nest is a cave I enter. There's a massive T-Rex here with a monkey on its back. Along with that, there's fireballs shooting out of the lava in the middle of the cave. The T-Rex will charge for me if it sees me, but I can bait it into smacking its head against these rocks to make it dizzy. I ignore that monkey for now and instead go for this other, easier one chilling in the corner, Raquel. Doesn't even get the chance to stand up. That's the 4th one I needed to finish this stage for now. 6.2% completion now. In Ape Escape P, this level is called Molten Lava. Chimpo is now named Chimpocrates, I kill my first Zuka. Gymnast is now Ringo, I grab the Spectre coin. I actually get picked up and dragged around a bit by the Pterodactyl in this version. Twitcher is now Gorilumbus, and Raquel is now Jetson. We're moving further through time into the Cenozoic era with Jungle River. The Professor has a new gadget for me first, the Monkey Radar. For the training stage I have 6 boxes and have to work out which 3 have monkeys. With the Monkey Radar I can aim it with the right stick and it will show a picture of the monkey if I'm pointing in the direction of one. I can see that the monkey is in the middle left box and grab it. Then the other 2 are in the front right and middle right. That opens the door and lets me move on to the level. I also get the trophy, Who Are You Looking For? At the start of every new era, I get a message from the Professor basically saying, monkeys are here too, and then explaining which point in history this is. After that I get another cutscene, where Spectre sends his own message to the lab declaring himself the conqueror of Earth. The Professor recognises Spectre from the amusement park, which Katie can't believe because he was cute and everyone loved him. Spectre says he doesn't remember any of that, saying that he should be grateful to the Professor for creating the helmet that has made him so intelligent and powerful. The Professor says that the Peak Point helmet is still incomplete and dangerous to use, but I'm more distracted by how his moustache isn't actually connected to his face and floats just barely below his nose without touching it. Spectre doesn't believe the Professor's claim and says it doesn't matter anyway as he's managed to get an even better one built. He tells his plan to rewrite Earth's history to make monkeys the new dominant species. Katie says that Spike will catch them all and looks right at the camera, showing that Spike is getting to see all of this too. That's when Spectre reveals that he has Buzz, all brainwashed with red eyes. The menace is lost a little thanks to Buzz's original UK voice.
Spike! I've been thinking of settling things with you someday.
Imagine getting a threat from your greatest rival, but he also sounds about 4 years old. The Professor works out what's happened to him quickly, and Spectre says he'll enjoy watching Spike's attempts to stop him before he hangs up. Now for the level. 14 monkeys, but I need to catch 6. And now we have more than one Spectre coin, with this one having 4 to find. Heading straight forward from where I start, I walk right into this Gabrisia's mouth and get chewed on. Also around here are BBs, who will fly right into me so hard they erase themselves from existence. I hit the pitcher plants around this big tree until a monkey comes out of one of them. Clumsy manages to hide in another when a Gabrisia catches me while chasing him, but I knock him out and catch him this time. In another pitcher plant is Spy, and I catch him too. I get out the Monkey Radar and spot Eyeball nearby on this tower with sunglasses and a gun. I get close enough to see him but assume I can't reach him and look elsewhere. Instead I drop in the river and have a look around. No monkeys in here, but there is a gate I can swim through to another screen. I get out of the water and see a monkey, but it jumps into this nearby silo and comes out riding a flying saucer. I have no way of reaching this one, so I go back the way I came to the first screen. I head back to Eyeball only to get shot in the face, but I can actually jump up the tower to him and catch him. Nearby is another gate I swim through. I'm told the river here is too dangerous to swim in thanks to the fish in the water, so I have to use a rowboat. Each stick controls an oar and I have to rotate them to paddle. I head into this little alcove near the entrance of the screen to find the first Spectre coin of this level hiding away. I grab that and get back on the boat, all while a huge catfish keeps trying to electrocute me. Continuing down the river, I find a platform I can get off on. I climb the pole to the next level to see Colt climbing across the monkey bars. I double jump, swat him down and catch him. Back in the boat and further down the river. I never really got used to how this thing controls. There's another spot to get off here and a wheel I can hit to raise a nearby gate a monkey is sleeping behind. Spinning the right stick with the club will have Spike spin, letting me raise the gate faster. I swim under it and jump out the water to catch Kipper. I go through the cave entrance to a screen with another rowboat. I move further down the river and get off at the first chance I can next to this big log. I jump up to the side to find a little camp. Here I find Mr. Smith and can catch him to finish the first run of this level. 8.5% completion. On the PSP, the Cenozoic era is called the Mysterious Age and the Jungle River is Thick Jungle. Since I lack a second stick, I can't use the Monkey Radar as well. I have to move my whole body. But it does have the form of tracking in this version and turns to point out a monkey if I'm near enough. I have nothing to say about the cutscene other than I think I prefer Spectre's voice on the PS1, and this is the point where I first noticed that Jake gains 2 more spikes in his hair over the PS1 version. Starting the Mysterious Age gets me the trophy Monkey Mystery. I catch Spy, who is now named Trey, kill my first Gabrisia, kill my first BBs, catch Eyeball, who is now called Freddy, and Clumsy, who is now called Fever. Despite the control issues caused by losing the second stick, I actually prefer how the rowboat controls. I just point the stick in the direction I want to go. Colt is now called Emerson, but I forget to grab a Spectre coin I got on the PS1, creating the first small diversion in the timelines. Near the wheel on this screen I collect 100 chips for an extra life for the first time, getting the trophy Mountain of Chips. Kipper is now called Jimmy. Now for another timeline diversion. At the log on the next screen near the camp, I jump in the water and find a Spectre coin floating next to this gate. And now to really make things harder to track for me between versions, I catch a different 6th monkey. I go up the log to find another monkey with a gun, Monkey Guard. Despite Spike clinging to trees for no reason while chasing him, he doesn't get very far. Next level for this era is the Dark Ruins. 13 monkeys here, 6 to clear the stage. Right away I can see 2 monkeys, one above on a cliff I can't reach, and one on the ground a little further back. That first one runs off further into the ruins as soon as I get near. Also here is the Onion, an enemy that takes 2 hits to kill. The monkey went across the platforms, up the stairs, and runs around the circular ruins here. He's a fast one, but he eventually gets tired and I close the distance. When he stops to fight me, Wiz becomes my first catch of the level. To the left is stairs to more ruins. I circle them until I find the door leading inside. Another new enemy in here, the Splitter. When hit they split into 2 smaller ones. Then those smaller ones split into 2 more even smaller ones. That's when they try to suicide charge you. I run up the slopes and spot a monkey at the top. I crawl up behind him, but he spots me at the last second and runs off. He doesn't get too far and Mash is mine. There's a Spectre coin here, but the slope is too steep so I can't get it. Nearby is an exit with a big trapdoor in the way. Another monkey I can't reach behind these bars because I don't have the gadget that breaks this piece of wall. Then across the vines to reach the door leading back outside. There's another monkey with a gun up here, and for some reason that's 2 levels in a row with a monkey called Colt. There's a big block up here with a picture of a hand on it. This means I can push it down. It breaks open the floor underneath, and my head too when I fall in after it, to reveal another door. Throw it into some underground ruins. In here we have Sparkplug, one of the more annoying enemies when you're new to the game. They're fast and tend to home in on you. Usually they hit me in the middle of my attacking animation. To the left is a monkey with binoculars keeping an eye out. If I'm spotted, he'll turn on fans to blow me back. While crawling I can curl up to make myself harder to notice, which is what I do whenever he looks in my direction. He only spots me once it's too late, and zap is caught. Past that is an incredibly narrow bridge that gets me my first death in this version when I miss it and fall into the pit. I try again, and this time I manage to make it to the top of this arch where I get my first Spectre coin of the level. I turn around and see another monkey at the top of this wall. I climb the thin ruins along the wall below and capture Gretel. I then drop down below and go up the stairs at the end of the room. This leads inside the circular ruins where I hit Indiana twice, and still for some reason let him run off. He only gets away for a few seconds though. With that stage's first clear, I have a completion of 10.8%. This level still has the same name on the PSP. I kill an Onion, I catch Wiz, who is now called Scooter. I kill a Splitter, then catch Mash, who is now O'Sullivan. Then the second Colt, now Mandy. With the club spin I kill a Sparkplug. Gretel is caught next, now called Ukarol. The Spectre coin goes exactly the same. I die trying to get on the bridge, but next time make it all the way to the coin. It turns out that Zap, now called Roo, also has rocket launchers for if he spots you. I stubbornly refuse to stealth and run against the fan wind to catch him. And then Indiana, now Quatolo, to get the first clear in this version. Crystal Relics is the final level of this era. Another new gadget for me, the letter Y. It's actually a slingshot. I have to pull back the control stick to pull back the slingshot and then tilt to aim before letting go. I have to take out all 3 enemies with it before I can move on. With L2 I can also go into first person and aim that way, hitting this switch to open the next door. I'm told that along with my normal bullets there are 2 other types, flash bullets and guided bullets. Normal bullets have infinite ammo, the other 2 do not. Take out the next lot of enemies to start the level. Clearing this training gets me the trophy, hands up. Less to collect in this stage, 8 monkeys total with the need to catch 5 and back to 1 Spectre coin. To start with I have a choice between a bridge or rolling platforms over a cliff. I take the bridge. I can see a platform above with a switch I can shoot. There's also the enemy Hotif lying around for me to shoot down as well. I shoot the switch which creates a bridge to that platform. Higher up so I'd still have to trek up to it. Further on there's another switch that creates a bridge right in front of me for me to cross. Past the bridge is the Nutcase, an enemy that will try to spin into me. They can only be killed once they tire out and stop spinning. There are 2 barred doorways here and switches next to each to open them with. I go through the first door past the bridge. In this room we have the first appearance of the Creeper. Apart from dropping from the ceiling, they're nothing special. I reach a spike pit and shoot the switch across it to make a bridge appear. On top of the switch is Van Gogh, my first caught monkey of the level. I then go back out and through the next doorway. Right away I can see a monkey in the next room, but a gate keeps me away from him. So I have to go up a ramp and around to see a switch I can shoot through some bars to open them. That lets me get around to catch Dibble here. He gives me quite a beating before I finally get him. I turn the crank in this room to open the gate into a room with a waterfall. In this room is Diaz, who is caught after he tries jumping the gap in the middle of the room. I jump in the river and swim through until I reach some bars and have to get out. There's a switch behind a piece of glass, but a few hits breaks that. Hitting the switch opens the bar, stopping me from getting back outside. I swim outside to find an extremely narrow bridge over a pit. This one I cross first try, leading to more ruins to climb that take me back inside but higher up. Up here is Miller. He doesn't have very far to go with these bars in the way. But then I just don't think and shoot the switch that opens the bars, giving him more room to escape to. He doesn't get far though. I next go through the doorway in the room I found Dibble in. There's a huge pillar in here, but instead I climb this pole to the right, which leads into this long corridor that then leads to this cage with the monkey inside. This is Street, and I can't get to him yet, so instead I return to the pillar, which is cracked, and start smashing it to bits piece by piece. On top of the pillar is Quiff. When it's smashed, I can reach him and catch him. After clearing this stage, I get my first challenge from Buzz. It's a simple race to the finish. These red archers give you a speed boost if you pass under them. Past the start is a pool to swim through. I get stuck trying to exit the pool and let Buzz gain some distance. Past that is crossing platforms over lava. Buzz gets a bigger lead when I land in the lava a few times. Then it's jumping some steps and going down a slide. After that is more water. I managed to close the gap with Buzz here since he stays around the centre of the track while I can stay on the inside when turning corners, but it's not enough. The last part is jumping over the ball and chains and my disastrous first half gets him the win. So next time I just don't mess up and finish first. The reward for beating Buzz is 5 Spectre coins, 14.3% completion. This stage also has the same name on the PSP. The slingshot is one I actually found easier to control when out of first person than on the PS1. It's a more standard control scheme, and sometimes pulling back and aiming with the right stick on PS1 would trip me up a bit. First thing I do is kill a Hottie, kill a Creeper, catch Van Gogh who is now called Ula, then catch Dibble who is now Ralph, Diaz who is now Micah, Miller who is now March, and Quiff who is now Keith. On the PS1, completing this level would put you straight into Buzz Attacks Part 1, but on the PSP you're sent back to the time station and have to manually select Jake Attacks Part 1 first time. This one takes me more attempts than on the PS1 somehow, but I eventually win, getting the trophy Mano a Mano and my 5 Spectre coins. Before moving on to the next world, getting 10 Spectre coins on the PS1 unlocks the first minigame, Ski Kids Racing. Playing this for the first time gets me the trophy, Frost Monkey. It's a racing minigame with paper-thin versions of Spike, Buzz, a monkey, Katie and the Professor. I cannot work it out and put it off for later. We're moving on to the Primitive Age now and its first stage, Primitive Beach. Another new gadget for me, the Dash Hoop. Spinning the right stick will spin it around me at high speeds and have me dash while doing so, being able to damage enemies by making contact with them. First I have to kill a whole room of enemies with it. Next room shows off its speed. I have to stand on the switch to raise the gate, get spinning, and then dash past before the gate comes back down. Do that twice and the training is complete. I get the trophy Do the Hula for finishing it. I get the Professor's usual New World message and get started. 8 monkeys and 1 Spectre coin here, but I only need to catch 5. I get a nice view of the beach, showing me so many of the monkeys at once. The mailbox here tells me about the hip drop attack, a ground pound done by pressing the left stick while mid-jump. Following the little path takes me to the beach. Right away I see Fossil resting on a hammock. He tries to taunt me before running off, but that just gets him caught. Along the beach is the only new enemy, Crabster. They take 2 hits to kill. We have 2 monkeys near each other making sandcastles. First is Shazza, who I catch easily, and next to him is Jetlag, who escapes into the water. Before I do that, I get smashing all the sandcastles with the hip drop, each one taking a few poundings to be completely levelled. I end up alerting Spank resting on one of the sun loungers. He also escapes into the water, so I follow them. Jetlag first, with catching 3 monkeys opening up the cave here. Then I find that Spank snuck off back to the sun lounger and I get him this time. Then through the cave entrance to the next screen. On here is a pair of bridges that drop down quickly, so I have to use a dash hoop to get across. Once across, there's a large gap with a switch at the other end and 2 monkeys. Eventually one of them steps on the switch and creates a bridge. I use the dash hoop to cross and slam right into him. That's Dim captured and the level's first completion, 16.3%. On the PSP, this one is called Oceana, with the first level being Krabby Beach. The dash hoop requires button mashing to power up now instead of stick spinning. A few years ago this wouldn't be a problem for me, but despite most aspects of playing games I've improved it as I've gotten older, my button mashing skills have started slipping over the last few years. Starting Oceana gets me the trophy, Good Day for a Swim. This'll be a quick one. I catch Fossil, now Cornelius, then Jetlag, now Squattro, then Shazza, now Skint, Spank, now Twos, and finally Dim, now Bartos. Back to the PS1 for Primitive Ocean. 1 Spectre coin, 8 monkeys, only need 5. To start with, I can see a monkey riding on a hammerhead shark. I try shooting him off, but that doesn't work. Instead I climb this slope to the left. Up here we have the Snatcher, basically a green hottie. I turn the wheel here to lower a bridge above. I next have to use the dash hoop to go up the ruins, around, up the rising bridge, and then jump to a cliff for 2 monkeys. Sensei with the gun, and a second monkey called Mash without. I jump down into the water, narrowly avoiding a shark, and swim into the underwater tunnel. I rise and leave the water to find a machine that gives out free cookies for restoring health. Across the platforms there's a monkey with a gun at the top of this cliff, but I can't get up there yet. So back through the tunnel I came from and turn right to enter a cave. I move right to find a bridge with giant swinging guillotines across it. I use the dash soup to get across and ram right into this monkey before I can get in the saucer. Pillow is captured. Back to the start of the cave and taking the left path. I see a submarine with a monkey mounting a cannon on the top. I speed through the nearby waterfalls and then up the slope to get climbing these ruins and narrow cliffs and... Oi! Piss off Mortal Kombat 1, don't intrude on the video! I'd normally have that turned off, but forgot. Up here is White and I catch him too. I drop down to the sub and swim underneath to find the Spectre coin. Back up where I caught White, I climb across this horizontal pole to reach another cave. Here's Arnie, loaded up with a gun and rockets. He doesn't end up too hard to catch. First clear for this stage, 18.5%. And for the PSP, where the level is called Coral Cave. I start with killing a Snatcher, catching Sensei and Mash, who are now called Apernicus and Francois respectively, then Pillow, who is now Hex. I grab the Spectre coin, then catch White, now April, finally Arnie, now Arnold. Dexter's Island is the final level of this era. 11 monkeys and 3 Spectre coins, but 6 monkeys needed for the first clear. This level stands out at first by having the first big chunk of it have no music at all, just the sound of waves and seagulls. Dexter refers to this giant creature the Professor has just discovered. But first I try to go for this boat with a monkey and Spectre coin on it, but the current is too strong so I can't get close. When I approach Dexter, he opens his mouth and I hop inside. Is it even a 3D platformer if you don't explore the innards of a giant sea creature? I can even swim in his stomach acids and it's perfectly safe. Moving right from the entrance are these weird floating things, Tutor. By them is the bridge to the bottom of an upturned ship with barrels rolling down from above. I dash all the way to the top and jump over to this very high up platform. Up here is Acolyte, who I capture with little trouble. I drop down and find this monkey inside a platform, but it's another one I can't get yet. Left from the entrance is a cave, and I really wouldn't want someone firing rockets inside me. It takes a bit because everything in here sends you bouncing all over the place, but Bruce is captured. As I leave I notice a Spectre coin below the ship, so I grab that. Then back to the Tutors and through the nearby tunnel, leading to another screen. In here I drop down, fall on this slide, have no idea how to react and end up grabbing onto this ledge, where I can pull myself up and find this Spectre coin, but I can't grab as whatever this is in my way. So I drop in the water and get running through this next Tutor-filled tunnel. At the end I climb up and have to fight this swinging Tebran. I stand just out of its range and shoot its green tip with a slingshot. I just keep doing that until it's destroyed. The slime in the back disappears and I can now ride the moving platform up. It leads to a tunnel to another screen. In here I have a tunnel to swim through and out the other end I can see 2 monkeys. I can't reach them from here so I shoot both of them to make them fall down and now I can catch Boots and Gilliam. I don't know which is which. To the left from where I entered there's a switch to open a door requiring the dash soup to get through. For some reason Dexter has a half pipe inside him and a giant rolling boulder. Another monkey just slides down for me to catch him, Normsky. And there's another one called Bracers. There's a third one here but I hit the 6 I needed to complete the stage. 20.8% complete after that one. And now for the PSP version. I catch Acolyte, now Sartre. I grab the Spectre coin under the ship, then Bruce, now called Stephen. I destroy a Tutor, then the Tebran using the club this time. Then Gilliam, now Sir Lucas, and Boots, now Ueka. Past them is Normsky, now Pablo, and Bracers, now Pietro. Next we move on to the Ice Age, starting with Frozen Ocean. Usual Professor intro, and I start. 6 monkeys, of which I have to find 5. As I move into the level I get my first snowman enemy hiding under a bucket. Further on I find 4 igloos. Out from one of them jumps Sumner, right into my club and then captured. Up the hill next, avoiding more snowmen. I see a woolly mammoth with another monkey riding on top. I get shooting his carriage while he shoots back. Nearby we also have a new pellet up of the Hottie and Snatcher, the Freezer. The mammoth can also stamp his feet to create a shockwave. After enough shots the monkey is knocked off and Gel Out is caught. I turn and discover I just passed a pole with the level's 1 Spectre coin above it, so I pick that up. Back past the mammoth and jump in this gap onto an icy floor. There's the odd strong winds here that can push me back, past that onto a more metallic surface. I spin a wheel here to lower the big platform and get on. While it goes back up I have to avoid the blades rotating around it. At the top is Laurel. I jump off and whack him, then net him. I then smash the generator he was next to depower the propeller and make it explode. This allows me to cross the platform to the top of the mountains, where Lucas sits freezing. He should be grateful I caught him so he can go somewhere warm. I then slide down the slope leading back to the place I found the Spectre coin. I use the monkey radar for the first time in ages, and in front of the pole I find a sheet of ice I can break. Behind it is Tanjobi, the 5th monkey and the last one I need for the first clear. That's 23% completion now. In Ape Escape P, this area is called New Friesland and the level Snowy Mountain. Starting this area gets me the trophy Spike Needs a Code. I kill a snowman, I catch Sumner, who is now called Seth. I get the Spectre Coin and then catch Tanjobi, now called May. Then comes Jillaut, who has been renamed Sly Baboon. I actually died from the propeller this time. Laurel is now called Burton and is the next one caught. Then to finish it, Lucas, who has been renamed Mondrian. The second level of the Ice Age is Icicle Cave. I have another new gadget to play around with. This time it's the propeller. Spinning the right stick will have it spin and propel me into the air. As the training level shows, it can be used for getting to out of reach ledges and for crossing pits that would normally be too long. Finishing this stage gets me the trophy, Take to the Skies. As for the level, I need to catch 6 out of its 9 monkeys. This level introduces a blue pallet swap of Bazooka, the Dozuka. I use my new propeller to cross a large gap. There's a sheet of ice that I can see through to see a little room with a couple monkeys in, so I cross the bridge to the left around and ruin the fantasy life of Lara, getting me the trophy Established Collector for catching 50, and Speedy. There's also one of the level's 3 Spectre Coins above the table. I head back and climb the next cliff to enter this cave. First I have a few slopes to climb. Up top is Salsa, who manages to flee a good distance and near this lake before I manage to knock him down and catch him. I then turn around and hover up to this spiked wall. I have to wait for the spikes to recede before I can hover up and over it. Then next I have to get up a huge slope while giant boulders roll down. I could probably use the propeller, but I wanted to collect the chips. Into the next section, I'm propelling up onto this platform. The easily captured Grandma is here. Now comes a slope that temporarily opens up into stairs. Have the time usage of the propeller to get up here. At the top is Pacifist, who runs off. For a pacifist, he definitely likes throwing bombs around. He's the first monkey to kill me in this game. Good for him. Next time I knock him down and catch him immediately. I follow the rest of the path to end up back outside again. The rowboat makes a return. This time its use is to avoid the electric jellyfish in the water. But then I see a Spectre Coin in the water below an island and jump in the water anyway. I get that and jump out onto the island, where the monkey here has retreated into a flying saucer. Now I have the slingshot, I can shoot these down. It takes a few shots, but it eventually crashes down and Captain cannot escape me anymore, clearing the first playthrough of this level. 25.5% completion. On the PSP, this is called Frosty Retreat. The propeller is now called the Skyflyer and is also powered by button mashing now. I catch Lara, now Ruggler, and Speedy, now Mandingo, and get the Spectre Coin in their room. I kill my first Freezer in the cave and my first Dozuka in a mutual kill. I then catch Salsa, now called Florian, chasing him into the lake. It's here I get another Spectre Coin earlier than I did on the PS1. I catch Grandma, now Ma, and Pacifist, now Columbo Bo. After that I grab the final Spectre Coin under the island, but instead of fighting the UFO, which is faster in this version, I swim to a nearby set of steps to a narrow bridge. On here I catch the relaxing monkey SARS, making the timeline diverge yet again. Last level of the Ice Age is Monkey Hot Springs. Same as last time, the goal is 6 out of 9 monkeys. Right away there's a monkey down below in front of me when I start. I drop down and Bert has no chance of escape. Next comes using the propeller to climb all the ledges in the side of the mountain, then crossing a gap to an ice bridge. I try to use the dash hoop to cross it as it crumbles behind me, but I'm not fast enough and fall down to the bottom. So instead I enter the cave down here. The path straight ahead shows a monkey, but it's gated off. Then to the right is a sleeping polar bear. There are 2 doorways in this room, but they're blocked by frozen pillars. I have to hit the polar bear, which has it slide around the floor. Smacking him into the pillars will weaken and eventually shatter them. I break both sets of pillars and start with the doorway opposite where I entered the room from. It just has some chips and cookies. So through the other doorway to a room with another polar bear. This one has ice pillars opposite and to the left. I break those and take the opposite doorway to a room with a third polar bear. This one only has 1 set of pillars, so I break those, and behind them is a computer room where I can catch the monkey Darwin. There's also one of this level's 2 Spectre Coins to collect. I can hit a switch in here to open the gate leading to the room that the left doorway in the second polar bear room leads to. It's also where I find the monkey I saw when I first got in here, Magpie, and catch him too. I can then open the gate leading back out. Now to try the ice bridge again. The propeller almost gets me across, but not quite. When I land in the water below, I see an underwater cave behind the waterfall. In here is Lens, a monkey with a rocket launcher, and I catch him too. I make it across the ice bridge next time with the propeller and find another monkey waiting for me, Roddy. With him caught, there's only 1 to go. I run through the rest of this cave and fly up some more ledges. A few ledges up is the last monkey I need, Teacher. That's the Ice Age completed for now, and I'm put right into Buzz Attacks Part 2. Another race, this one starts with propelling up a few walls, then going down a slide, making sure to jump the gap in it near the bottom. Next is a narrow wall with a ball and chain swinging across before I propel up even further. Then a massive gap to hover over, landing in the very last little inch of lava. I just let myself burn and bounce to the final obstacle, spinning pillars around a big one. Buzz catches up and I lose my lead at the last second when I try to rush and fail to grab the final ledge. Next time I manage it and win. Another 5 Spectre coins for me, getting the trophy, moving on up for collecting 20 of them. That's 29.3%. On the PSP, this stage is simply called Hot Springs. I catch Bert, now called June, then Lenz, who is now Vansol, then into the cave for the Spectre coin, Darwin, who has been renamed Boboyevsky, and Magpie, who's now called Mosquito. Then back outside I catch Roddy, now Sumatra, and Teacher, now John Bon Johnson. Then comes Jake Attacks Part 2. This time it takes 3 attempts, getting me the trophy, Spike 2, Jake 0, and 5 more Spectre coins. That's where we'll be leaving off this episode. The next 2 worlds are long and will need an entire video to themselves. I've been having a good time with this game, but I think I'll leave my thoughts on all the levels individually for when I fully complete them. Next time I'll chase the monkeys to the recent past and beyond and confront Spectre. A lot. And we are back to Ape Escape and Ape Escape P to cover the much longer final 2 eras. Just to repeat a disclaimer from last time in case anyone joined with this video. Many of the monkey names will be wrong, because the Ape Escape wiki and 2 guides I looked up all attributed the names to different monkeys. On the PS1, before I start the next world, I have 20 Spectre coins, so now I can play the minigame Spectre Boxing. Playing it for the first time unlocks the trophy Warrior Monkey. I have a few monkeys to choose from, but since there's nothing to accomplish by playing apart from the trophy I just got, I just flail my limbs around, with each stick controlling an arm. I lose by decision and never play it again. We now move on to the recent past and its first stage, Tranquil Temple. This message from the Professor is actually important since he has discovered that Spectre is hiding within this era. This stage has 12 monkeys, of which I have to catch 7. To start with, I go up all the stairs, getting attacked by the first Hanzo enemy on the way. They'll teleport in, throw a shuriken at you and then run and jump around. At the top of the stairs I can see 3 monkeys in front of me and a 4th on the temple roof. I catch one of them, MC, right away as the other 2 run off. I chase the second one to the left and capture Vinyl. Meanwhile, the third one in blue has run under the temple. He doesn't get very far and RGB is mine. In the back right corner of this area is a well for me to drop down. Down here is a cave where the floor has several holes in it leading to lava with fireballs jumping out. There are 2 monkeys jumping across the platforms here for me to chase down. First I catch Red, and then Stressed. I head to the back of the room where the big statue is and hover up onto the pillar on the left. It leads to a ledge with a narrow path to cross, then a couple pillars to cross to the other side of the room. That leads to a vine to climb across to the next platform where I can hover over to a Spectre coin in the back. Back out of the well and now I enter the temple itself. I head up the stairs to find a Buddha statue and in its hand the monkey Scamp, who doesn't get to try anything before being captured. To the left I spot another monkey. It's my first monkey in green, who have better vision than the others. Cameron here also has rockets and he kills me, but I run right back up to him and catch him next time. That's the 7th one I needed, 31.7% complete. On the PSP, this era is called Medieval Mayhem and the first level is Wabi Sabi Temple. Here we get a slight change, as in this version I need to catch 8 monkeys instead of 7. Starting this era gets me the trophy Medieval Knight. Here, Vinyl, now B Diddy, manages to get far enough away that he can hide in this bell, requiring a little whack to knock him out. He's the first one caught. Behind the bell I get another Spectre coin earlier than I did on the PS1. RGB is caught next, now called Method Monkey. Seconds later I get attacked by an enemy I avoided completely first time on the PS1, the bear Eno. 3 hits kills one. On the roof I shoot down Svengali and catch him, another monkey I'm getting earlier. Then MC, now called Ukiuk. After that it's in the well for Stressed, renamed Yo-Yo, and Red, renamed Naki. I also grab the Spectre coin up and in the back. Then into the temple for Scamp, now called Binky, then the final Spectre coin gotten earlier than the PS1, by hovering up onto the Buddha's head. I then finish the level by capturing Cameron, who is now called Manta. The extra collectibles have put me ahead of the PS1 at 32.5%. Next up is the Great Wall. 10 monkeys here, of which I have to catch 8. Walking along the wall I'll see a few islands off to the sides. Some, like the first, just have chips for me to pick up. I get a death fear when I first jump onto the moving platform with alternating spike walls on each side. I panic and just jump right off. Next time I'm prepared and get past it. As I keep moving I cross this wooden bridge to some spinning platforms. Floating above are Chaipu, who try to nail me with cannonballs. Across the platform I attack Meg and get my first capture. Past it is the moving platform that takes me past these stairs to another monkey lower down. This is Pal, all caps, and he doesn't have much space to run from me, so he's easily caught as well. From here I can climb past the stairs without having to deal with the timed turning into a slope. Next comes a rolling platform to get across. I overestimate its rolling speed and run myself off to another death. Next I let the propeller make it easier for me and go through the door to end up inside. There are 3 monkeys running around this room. If they make contact with the gong in the middle, huge weights will fall from the ceiling to try and crush me. They'll also jump into the holes on the sides of the room and pop out through another. I don't know which is which because they all wear white and are unarmed, but their names are Senior, Kid and Baby. Catching them all took a couple minutes. This creates some steps to continue my climbing here and opens up a Spectre coin hiding in the wall that I grab. I climb up and go through the door here to end up back outside. First thing I do out here is shoot this switch to open up the gate across this huge gap. I cross the gap by riding this moving platform, avoiding the buzzsaws that pass through it. I jump off at the gate and turn right to see a monkey using some binoculars through this fence. I keep running along the path, avoiding everything rolling down at me. At the top I turn a wheel to lower a bridge to cross. I next have a series of rolling platforms to jump across to reach the door at the top. Now this room is huge. To start with is a wheel to bring out a bridge that recedes into a spiked wall, then one that brings out 2 bridges that connect in the middle. Past that and at the top of this path is a gap with another monkey on the other end. I hit this target to rotate the bar so I can climb across. Flea is another monkey with little space to escape to. He gets caught on the corner of this fence, leading to getting caught in my net. Then past him is another door leading back outside. Grab onto the bar and ride along this rail over the gap, seeing that there's a monkey on the arch where it leads to. He could have stayed out of reach, but instead Billy drops down and runs off, dropping bombs behind himself. He runs inside and gets climbing the walls, so I have to take the long way around outside while avoiding being flattened some more. Once I reach the top, a different monkey gets in a flying saucer. I shoot Ewan down and catch him. This opens up a hole in the roof where I can drop down and catch Billy to clear the level. That's 34.2% now. In Ape Escape P, it's called Tiki Tiki Wall. In this version, the amount of monkeys needed for the first clear is reduced by 2, so I only need to catch 6 here. I never brought it up before, but another visual upgrade that I do prefer from the PSP version is the much better draw distance. It's very obvious in this stage. I start by catching Meg, who is now called Chimp Lee. Then Pal, who's been renamed Ape Yun Fat. Then comes Senior, Kid and Baby, whose names have been changed to Uncle Bobo, Samuel Bobo and Ricky Bobo. Then I grab the Spectre coin on the wall. I kill a Chaipu and then in the second indoor section catch Flea, now called Ron. And that's where the level ends for now this time. And the final level of the recent past is Trick Castle. This level has 20 monkeys to find, but my only goal is to catch Spectre. I move straight forward until the path splits into an uphill and downhill path. The uphill one leads to the castle, but I go downhill. There's a gun-toting mum, having a nap and only noticing me when it's too late. Further on there's a waterfall I can swim past to end up inside. It leads into one of the castle basements where I'm attacked by bats, Parky, all the way to the end to find a locked door keeping me from going any further. So it's back outside and continuing downhill to find my next monkey, CD. He tries to use his rockets to keep me away long enough for him to get in the nearby flying saucer, but it doesn't work and I capture him. That's the end of this path, so it's back the way I came and taking the uphill split. The castle comes into view, but the front door is closed. I run to the right, around and uphill to take Ali by surprise and catch him. I continue to climb this hill and at the top use the propeller to land on one of the towers. There's some sort of container here I can't do anything with, but up here on the roof I can catch Pascal. The nearby switch creates some platforms to the roof next to the front door. Down the stairs up here to finally enter the castle. I can see barrels rolling down a slope in front of me and I manage to make it all the way to the bottom unharmed. There's another monkey down here, Gaza. He likes to hide down the holes underneath the bells. I eventually catch him when he's trying to switch bells. That's 5 monkeys, which opens up a door elsewhere. While I was trying to catch Gaza, I was seeing the odd gunshot from above, so I run back up the slope and see this platform off to the side with Flock on it. I catch him, but he can't have been the culprit since he doesn't have a gun. I drop down and it turns out the one I'm looking for is on this ceiling above the bells. That's Sid, all capitals, caught as well. There's also a new enemy in here, the Nutty Knight, a more armoured version of the Nutcase. I can now go through the nearby door with this room cleared out. To the right from where I entered is the now opened front door, and to the left is the door I opened with 5 monkeys. I instead go straight ahead to try and hover over this huge pit. I die, so I go through the 5 monkey door. There's a throne in the back and sitting on it is my next catch, Elvis. I go up the stairs in here to find a monkey shooting at me from atop a chandelier. This is Dayglow, who is very easy to catch since the chandelier is so small. I jump back down and go through the nearby doorway, climb some steps and at the top I can catch another monkey with a gun, Suits. Through the next doorway and I jump across another platform to reach a door to another screen. I ride down the slide here and at the end jump and hover to this guillotine. There's a monkey perched on it to capture, Suede. Then I turn to see another in a cell I can jump down to, par, and catch. And while catching him, I can see a Spectre coin in the distance. I hover back onto the slide and make sure I grab it on the way down. The platform it was above turns out to be bouncy, and so I use it to reach this next guillotine to capture another monkey, Corpse. This room gets me quite a lot for the short time I spend in it. At the bottom is my first Walloon Knight. I just have to dodge their sword swings and then strike. 4 hits kills it and opens the door it was guarding. It leads into the same basement the waterfall outside led to, but on the other side of the door. I hit the switch here to open said door, but there's a cell opposite keeping a monkey away from me. So it's into the water, where Chill is swimming around waiting to be caught. There's a tunnel nearby to swim through that leads inside the cell where I can catch Rodan. Then back in the water and continuing the path past the tunnel, there's another monkey in the water, Hairy, who I also catch. I get out of the water where there's moving platforms and rows of spikes above them that are quite easy to forget about and jump your stupid face into. But you don't actually have to platform here, you can just swim to the other side and hover out. Through the door to another room. A load of gears and I can see another monkey on the opposite side of the room. This is Prince, who tries to escape over the gears. I follow him across them, catching Bowie on the way, and hitting a switch that opens one of the gears close to the Spectre coin so I can grab it. It also opens at one of the towers on the roof. I pick up the Spectre coin and finally catch Prince. I go through the door next to where I found him. I drop down the ledge and find it leads back to the start of the basement. Back to the throne room and jumping across 4 chandeliers to the other side and up the stairs to find another Spectre coin in front of the window. Also here is the Monkey Constable. Then onto the roof and into the newly opened tower. Spectre and Buzz are here. Spectre asks Buzz if his plan is coming along, and it is. He says that they've almost got the entire town under control. Spectre says that it's now time for them to return to the present. They go to leave, Buzz saying that they will settle things soon. They board their battle cruiser and escape through time. They did leave a boss behind for me though, the Specializer, a huge electrified suit of armour. It will power itself up with electricity and chase me down. Once it swings its axe and misses, that's my chance to hit it, just like the Walloon Knight. This one takes 5 hits to kill, with the pattern not changing, and that's the level cleared. On the stage clear screen, there's no one there to tell me I did well. Spike ends up back in the present day, but things aren't as they should be. There are monkeys flying saucers through the streets of Tokyo, replacing ads with posters of Spectre and statues of humans with statues of monkeys. People are hiding inside and those who dare leave their houses get chased by monkeys on motorbikes. Spike returns to the lab, but it's empty, with Casey saying that the Professor left a message. This has been recorded during the initial invasion, the Professor showing Spike the TV tower that Spectre is using as a base. Meanwhile, Katie is trying to keep out the monkeys, but they cut the door down and take both of them. Spike runs right off to deal with it. All those monkeys I caught bumped me up to 38.2%. On the PSP, this stage is called Crumbling Castle. I start by catching CD, now called Sir Blonde. Next is Mum, now called Antonio, then Ali, now Sir Noel. Nearby I get another Spectre coin earlier than the PS1. On the cliffs behind the castle I can hover to this one. Then comes Pascal, now Sir Luge. Then creating the platforms on the wall and going inside to catch Flock, renamed Fly, and then Gaza, renamed Perla. I kill a Parky, and finally for this room, Sid, now called Double Sol. Next one caught is Elvis, now called Iron. Then it's Dayglow, now called Sir Rose. Constable is next, renamed Sir Jean, and I also grab the Spectre coin in front of the window. Then Suits, renamed to Sir Vale. Into the prison with Suede, now called Saturday, then Pa, who is now called August, the Spectre coin above the bounty platform, Corpse, who has been renamed Sardonyx, and killing the Walloon Knight. Down into the basement to catch Chill, now called Sir Gris, Hairy, now called Sir Sepia, and Rodan, now called Sir Violet. And now the gear room to catch Bowie, who has been renamed to Nimrod, open the tower, grab the final Spectre coin, and catch Prince, renamed Moose. Then into the tower to watch the cutscene with Jake and Spectre, and then take out the Specializer to get the trophy, Goodnight Electro Knight. One change is that on this version, Natsumi and the Professor are still there to congratulate your stage clear before they get kidnapped for the next cutscene. In fact, the cutscene doesn't start automatically, and dropped off in the time station first. Time for the final era, the present day, starting with Urban City. First I get a message from Casey. With the Professor and Katie unavailable, she'll be taking over to give me new gadgets. I was actually surprised to find that she's actually a character and not just the pointer stick person at the start of each stage. She's finished up the RC car that the Professor was working on. I can drive the RC car with the right stick, it can damage enemies by colliding with them. But that isn't its only use. I can park it on switches that automatically deactivate when stepped off Earth to keep them pressed down. The next thing it can do is pass through small holes in walls. We've already seen a few monkeys behind walls like these that I couldn't deal with before. That's the end of this training stage, and clearing it unlocks the trophy for those hard to reach places. Casey also gets to do the introduction cutscene to this era. She tells Spike that since a lot of the lab equipment was destroyed by the monkeys, he still has to return to the time station between levels. I guess that's to explain why he still goes there when he's back in his own time now, so the developers didn't have to waste time making a second hub. Casey points out this factory that Spike has to reach, as it's where Spectre is having weapons manufactured to use when he goes to conquer the rest of the world. The way to the factory is hidden in this park. Of the 13 monkeys in this stage, I need to catch 8 of them. Right away is a climbing frame with a monkey inside, letting me use the RC car right away. I use it to chase the monkey out, and Ginger is my first capture. Nearby are some tree stumps to climb leading to a cave with a monkey and a boxing ring inside. Robin jumps out of the ring to escape, but doesn't get very far because I catch him too. Between the climbing frame and tree stumps is some stairs to a hatch in the floor needing 3 monkeys to be caught to open it. I go in the opposite direction of the stairs, passing under a big pipe with another monkey on top. Past it is a monkey on a bench. The new enemy, Megaton Chimpanoid, thinks he can distract me by dropping down from nowhere while being massive, but it doesn't work and Gorilla is easily captured. The hatch opens, and the monkey on the pipe backs up the new enemy by shooting me in the head. It also has a hammer for a hand with which it can do a spinning lariat with huge range. It takes 5 hits to destroy. I can't reach that monkey, or any others, so it's time to drop down that hatch. In the sewers I can see a monkey on a grate above. Past it I use the RC car to open a gate and catch Chummy behind it. After he leads me up all those stairs and shoots me a few times that is. He led me all the way to this ramp, but first I jump in the nearby water and go through the big pipe to another screen. This room is covered in slopes with giant barrels slowly rolling down. I use them as platforms to cross the first gap and get on top of this cage to find my first Spectre coin of the level. I cross it to the other side of the room where I can see a monkey in another pipe, but I miss the ledge and end up sliding all the way down to the bottom, seeing myself miss another monkey near the end. So I take the lift down here back up and try again. There's a monkey in the cage the coin was above, but I can't catch him from here. I land in the pipe next time to find the monkey has already run off. On the other end of the pipe is more water, and in it is a series of platforms going up. There are 2 monkeys with guns up here, Cobain, who started in the pipe and gets me the Pro Catcher trophy for being my 100th catch, and Veggie. I jump down and go into the pipe left of the one I came from, which has a big propeller to get past. At the end is more water to jump into. There's a hole I can swim through down here to another screen. This leads back out into the park, but higher up. Here I can grab another Spectre coin. I can also finally catch Posh, the monkey on the pipe that was shooting at me earlier. Back through the hole into the sewer, on the opposite wall to the hole I can jump out onto an alcove, then I can jump higher to find another monkey with a gun, Sharon. That will be my 8th capture and this stage cleared. My completion is now 40.9%. This level is called City Park in P. I only get the invasion cutscene after selecting it here. The only thing I have to point out is they gave this guy a Hitler tash and gave him a much more unflattering hairstyle than the simple bald head he had in the original. The RC car is now controlled by the D-pad, but since that's on the same side as the PSP's only stick, it means that both walking and steering at the same time is not going to be happening much. Probably the biggest downgrade from the loss of the second stick, but I can adapt so it's not a huge loss. Starting the present day gets me the trophy, Bring Me to Monkey Town. First thing I do is catch Ginger, who has been renamed Elf, and then Robin, who is now called Herbert. Gorilla is next, renamed Manson. The Megaton Chimpanoid traps me in this stun beam which he didn't use on me on the PS1. I kill it. In the sewer I change events again. Off to the side when chasing Chummy, who is now called Apestoy, is a monkey behind a cage. I bait him out with the RC car and catch Cypress. I tried to only collect the same monkeys and coins I did first time through on the PS1 to make it all easier to track when writing these videos, but when we're dealing with hundreds of collectibles, my memory couldn't be perfect. And I didn't want to slow things down with rewatching the PS1 recordings. I catch Apestoy, then get the Spectre coin above the cage. I catch a Veggie, now called Omar, get the Spectre coin outside, and then catch Posh, who has been renamed September. Another change of events, I get back in the water under where I found Omar and swim through a tunnel. Here is a new monkey, Enya, swimming around. Catching this one means that this level is now 2 monkeys out of sync with the PS1 playthrough. I don't know if there's any fandom debate over whether Ape Escape or Ape Escape P is currently the canon version of events, but the real question is, which playthrough is canon to the Ultra Kintaro YouTube channel? The second stage of the present day is Spectre's factory. 10 monkeys here, I need to catch 7. There's a tank at the start that I can get in, each of the treads are controlled by a stick. There's also the new mecha nutcases that I wipe out with the cannon. The cannon can also destroy these black and yellow crates blocking my path forward. There's a monkey and a flying saucer and it can't damage me at all in this tank. I shoot it down and Itchy is my first catch of the stage. I continue along the path, blowing everything up until I reach this monkey that jumps inside an ape cannon. He fires rockets at me but keeps missing while I nail it dead on with my own shots. Yeffel tries to get away in its destruction but can't stop himself from being caught. Behind the cannon is the door into the factory. Up the stairs I reach this big central control room. To the left is a door needing one more monkey cart to open. To the right is a wheel that lowers a bridge further up. All I can do is go through the door in the back. There's a monkey behind a crate with some rockets on a big course of the RC car. While I'm driving it through this path, I have to run along it on top. I take it to a switch that activates a set of stairs to climb over the next wall with. I respawn the car and send it into the next section. This one is tougher. I have to cross a pair of moving platforms over a pit. It takes a few attempts, but I get it across and onto the next switch. More stairs over another wall to the third section. This time it's too tall for me to run along above. There's 2 switches here that activate temporary bridges that quickly recede, and at the end and far out is a Spectre coin. Crossing is actually very easy, but I just barely miss a Spectre coin and fall to my death. Turns out there's an easier way to do it. Cross the bridges, then press a switch again to send them out again, then it's just 2 steps away. Past that is the monkey with the rockets, Plonker. With him caught, the door to the left in the previous room opens and I go through. Here I have to stay on this platform as it moves and navigate past all the spinning spiked pillars. Once I reach the other side, I have a choice of 3 numbered wheels. Each one lifts up a platform of the same number in front of them. I have to lift them all up and time it in a way that, as they descend, I can climb them to the floor above. Next comes crossing a conveyor with swinging hammers passing by. That one's easy, then through the door at the end. This leads me to the top of the first room. There's a new patroller that charges into me while I'm trying to catch the monkey up here, but Chunky doesn't last much longer. There's also a lever that creates a moving platform between the top and the ground. I can now use the wheel to lower the bridge and ride the platform up to cross it to go through the next door. I cross the bridge here and through the boxes comes charging a monkey piloting a robo chip. I think I'm safe hiding up on the tall pile of boxes, but then it reveals it has homing missiles and shoots me into the pit. I have to let it charge past me, and when it starts stalling is the time to hit it with the club. Keep doing that and after enough hits, the robo chimp explodes and I can catch Rick. I can then cross the next bridge and go through the door to the next room. Now I have turning gears under retracting spike walls over liquid metal to get past. I think this is actually easy until I nudge a spike and get thrown into my death. Next time I get past and reach the other side where there's another wheel that lowers a huge pipe. When it moves back up I pass through it and a second pipe to the door at the end. This room has an ascending series of conveyors moving boxes around. I get climbing and make my way to the top. Up here I turn around and see another monkey hiding off in a corner. Davinder has nowhere to escape to and I catch him. Returning to the big platform at the top, another monkey piloting a robo-chimp appears. I defeat this one the same way to get access to the monkey, C, but where is he? He somehow got stuck in the air above the room ceiling. So I have to leave the room and re-enter to reset his position so I can catch him to clear the stage. 43.3%. And back to the PSP where the level name is unchanged. I kill a mecha nutcase, I capture Itchy who is now called Ashra, and then Yaffle who is now called Dooz. Inside I get the Spectre coin using the RC car and catch Plonker, now Octo Jr. Chunky is next, having been renamed Sunday. I destroy the first robo-chimp and catch Rick whose new name is Kai. Then those 2 in the conveyor room. Davinder is now Selvage and C, the one in the second robo-chimp, is now Chim Noble. Now for the third level of the present day, TV Tower. Once again my aim is to catch Spectre, but there are also 12 monkeys to catch here. I start outside the building and head on inside. Straight away I turn left to find Sonny on a chair as my first catch. Just in time to get shot by the new Killer Coil enemy too. To the right I can jump up to the next floor and over the fence. I go through the door into the hallway and then jump up into this air vent. It's here I find Jitter who shoots me down with his rockets and then escapes out into the hallway. Before going after him I press the switch to drain the pool back in the lobby. Then I can follow and catch Jitter. Into the drained pool and below the lobby I can find a hidden lift to another screen. I follow the path around to see water and a rowboat, but instead I use a propeller to get on the pipe above. I see a monkey jump in the water, but first there's a Spectre coin on an even thinner pipe. I'm actually surprised when I make it across to grab it first try. I then drop down in the water to catch the swimming Hitchcock. I follow the room through this pipe to what looks like an empty room, but above is Amiga climbing across the bars on the ceiling. I shoot him down and catch him too. I swim back avoiding all the naval mines after me. Back to the lobby and with at least 3 monkeys caught, I can get in the lift on the second floor. Right away there's a tank for me to drive and a track to follow. Along this track are the huge CAD-10 enemies that take 3 tank shots to kill. I spot a monkey on the ground below me, so I drop down, take Victor by surprise, and that's my 5th catch of the stage. When I see these red and white crates around the ground, I take my tank off the track, just knowing I could blow them up with it. One crate was hiding a monkey. Liam here was surprisingly resistant to tank fire. Catching him opens the doors to another lift further up. A crate just behind Liam was hiding the second and final Spectre coin of the level. That's all that's important though, and I take one of the tank lifts in the corner and go all the way across the track this time. At the end are more crates to destroy that reveal a switch that just activates the lift next to it that I don't need. Before going, there's another track to the left to take the tank along. It leads to a wall of crates that when destroyed reveals another monkey and an ape cannon. It destroys my tank, so I have to slowly go back, get another, and bring it back. I destroy the ape cannon and out comes Buddy, who I catch. I blow up the crates behind the cannon to reveal the entrance to a hidden room. I can see a monkey climbing along a pipe on the opposite wall, but can't reach it. To the left I can cross a bigger pipe to find a switch that activates a bridge above me to a platform and the stairs up to it. I get on the platform, which lowers as I stand on it, but rises when I stand on the switch on it. As the platform sinks I can actually see 2 monkeys climbing around. But once the platform gets lower than that, there's a fan to blow me into the pit to my death. This takes a few tries. It's hard to shoot them down when both you and the monkey are moving in opposite directions. It doesn't help and I die again. Next time I catch one of them, Zombie, just swinging the net at him when he passes by. The other one, Sean, takes a few attempts, but at least it didn't involve any more deaths. A shutter lowers nearby revealing a window with a target on it. I break through and catch Barlow at the computer. Pressing the switch here opens a door leading back to the first switch in this room. I then go back to the previous room and into the lift I opened. Up here is a platform that takes me to a boss battle. The Professor and Katie are here guarded by Buzz and so is Spectre. Spectre praises Spike's stubbornness but says he intends to make the Professor help him some more. He has Buzz drag them off while Spectre gets inside the battle cruiser to fight me with. He starts by flying around the arena dropping missiles everywhere. Then a fire spread that moves all the way across the arena. He then spawns several flying saucers that each take a couple whacks to destroy. After that it reveals a big green weak spot. So weak that a hit from a club almost sends the whole vehicle tumbling off the building. After that the pattern repeats but the attacks may not always be in the same order. I get a second hit in. On the third cycle it skips the fire attack for spawning flying saucers twice. I get a third hit in. Next time after the missiles it reveals its weak spot while in the air. I get no time to react before it charges for me, leaving a big bomb behind that creates an arena spanning shockwave. Eventually it lands to reveal its weak spot and I get a fourth hit in. At this point the battlecruiser is flashing red. Through another cycle hitting it for a 5th time, but it still keeps going. After the next cycle I miss the hit by a second when the weak spot covers up again. So this time I aim a slingshot and first chance I get, hit the killing blow with some explosive ammo. The battlecruiser lands and bursts into a fiery explosion right in Spike's face, while he doesn't even flinch. Spectre is impressed. He ignores Spike's demands for his friends back and teleports away. I caught 10 of this stage's 12 monkeys. 46.2% complete now. And on the PSP, this level keeps its name. I catch Sunny, who is now called Carmine. I destroy a killer coil. Then I catch Jitter, renamed Nouveau. In the sewer I catch Hitchcock, new name Edgar, then pick up the Spectre coin. After that is Amiga, renamed Topaz. Into the tank room where I kill a Katten, catch Liam, who has been renamed Rubino, collect the Spectre coin hiding in the crate, catch Victor, who is now Emmanuel, then destroying the ape cannon for Buddy, whose name is now Spiegelberg. In the room with the fan and the moving platform, I catch Zombie, new name Napoli Monkey, and Sean, now Icy Ice. Barlow, the one in the computer room, is now called Coburn. But I catch another one I missed on the PS1. Below the fans after you catch Coburn is a small platform where I can catch this stage's 11th monkey, Oki. Nothing to say about the battlecruiser fight other than I defeat it again. Doing so gets me the trophy, There He Goes Again. That just leaves the game's final level, Spectreland. I get an introduction from Spectre, saying that he has hidden the Professor and Katie within the amusement park he once lived at before he got the helmet. Once again the objective is to catch Spectre, but the park also has 24 monkeys and 10 Spectre coins to find. The entrance of the park acts as a hub connecting its different sections, but one is closed off. To the left from the front gate is Westernland. Right away I can see a monkey on a roof with a gun. I jump up after him and Tyson is caught. The large building opposite the entrance has a couple monkeys moving between the windows, but first I explore a bit to find a Spectre coin above the entrance gate that I can hover into from one of the roofs. I get shooting the monkeys out the windows. There are 3 of them, but they can get back inside through the front door. I stun 2 of them with the same club swing and catch Mankey, then Kong. Then I shoot down and catch the 3rd monkey, Parsley. That's all in here, so I leave. Back out into the hub, I head up the stairs on the opposite side to enter Spectre Circus. There's a huge cage in here and inside it is the Professor. After checking that the other is okay, the Professor says that the entrance to the cage is on the top. To the right from the door to the cage is a series of bouncy platforms. I mess up the first bounce and die. And then I mess up the first bounce and die again. For some reason my depth perception just doesn't work in only this one room. I make it across next time where the extremely fast bomb balloon enemies are waiting. Then more bouncing, only for my bad depth perception here to get me another death halfway. But next time I get past and keep climbing. Then comes climbing across a pair of poles. More bouncing, which I managed first time thankfully, and I reach the top where the wind-up clown is waiting. He tries to run you over with a giant beach ball. The only way to damage him is with the slingshot. After an amount of hits I didn't bother to count, he falls off the ball and through the roof, creating the entrance. Once I reach the floor, he starts rolling around the arena himself. I have to bait him into crashing into the wall to stun him and then give him a whack. 3 or 4 hits and he's done and the Professor is free. The Professor goes into the whole philosophy of strength when Spike says that it was the gadgets he made that got him this far. The Professor will go back to his lab to fix his broken equipment while I deal with the rest of the stage. Back into the hub, the only other open area is the Terror Coaster. I have to ride a roller coaster while also having to jump to avoid obstacles and grab items. But first I go down the ramp next to the coaster. It leads to a few moving platforms and then past them is a little arcade where Curtis is playing. I ruin his fun. I then go back and jump in the coaster. Along the track are barricades with skulls on to jump over. Some of them are dicks and appear as you're turning corners, so the only way to dodge them is to already know they would be there beforehand. On a downhill there's a Spectre coin on the track. Not long after that is the end of the screen, but the coaster keeps going. There comes a long downhill with many jumps to do, and right after is a Spectre coin in the air that I missed from jumping too late. So I let myself die to try again. This time I jump too early and land just as the coin passes over me. So I just leave it and decide to finish the rest of the coaster. There's a big drop, then the end of the screen, and on the next one is where it stops for me to get off. Up the stairs and through the door, I see Katie through a cage. She's getting a little impatient, but Spike can't reach her from here, he'll have to find a way around. I go through the next door, and despite seeing this giant knife in front of me, I still walk my face into it, twice. I think it through next time, and walk around, avoiding the Whisper Mias floating around. Through the next door is the first Alele, a ghost in a pot. Just smashing the pot deals with them. To the right is a door to a pit I can't cross yet. Then further on I see a cage with a monkey inside, but I don't see a way to progress further. I try hovering over the pit, but that just kills me. I only notice this breakable wall opposite the door to the pit when I kill the Alele again and accidentally damage the wall. Through a tunnel with more Aleles and up some stairs to a bridge that lets me drop into the cage. I strike Slime on the way down and catch him. One switch in here creates platforms over the pit, the second one opens the door and lets me out. I cross the pit and go through the door to the next screen. Katie is in this room, as are 3 monkeys. They jump down into the pit below and hide in the coffins. To make a monkey show himself, I have to kill the Whisper Mias floating out of the coffins. I don't know which is which because they wear the same shorts and are unarmed, but their names are Junior, Lenny and Funky. Catching all 3 of them drops Katie's cage. She blames Spike for the painful landing. She also complains when she learns that Spike still hasn't found Buzz or Spectre and heads back to the lab, having to suffer the Terror Coaster on the way back. I go out after her and jump in the coaster, which takes me back outside. In the hub, Spectre talks to Spike over the tannoy. He tells Spike to go to the go-kart section where Buzz is waiting. Most of it's actually really hard to hear, and there's no subtitles, but that's the important part of it. I head down to the no longer blocked off go-kart section and enter. Inside is Buzz Attack Part 3. He's above standing atop his Buzzmobile, talking about how good a rival Spike is, but things are being settled now. The Buzzmobile releases several RC cars that take a couple hits to destroy, or they'll blow themselves up against the walls. It follows that up with some missiles, but they can only fire in front and he first tries them with me behind. I stay behind him, spinning in place and hitting the back because the impact makes me think I'm actually doing damage, but I soon learn and get out in front. Eventually the car will rev up and speed towards me, opening up the weak point on the back. I avoid it so it crashes into the tyre wall and take the chance to hit the weak point. Buzz then drives back into place to start the cycle again. A second hit, a third, a fourth, a fifth, and it's done. Buzz is ejected while the car explodes. Buzz violently hits the ground, and when Spike checks on him, he wakes up with little memory of his brainwashing and no idea why his entire body is injured. Spike makes those injuries worse by shaking him and then swinging him around by his arms. Spectre's voice can be heard again, disappointed to lose Buzz, but also saying he doesn't need him anymore. He says he'll open the door to Spectre Castle, so that Spike can take him on face to face. Buzz tries to come along, but he's too injured, so Spike has him return to the lab. Back into the hub, and the door in the top middle is open for me to go through. Spike runs through the corridor and sees Spectre Castle floating up into the sky. That leaves me with the remaining crater to climb down and explore. Down at the bottom is a machine and on top is another Spectre coin. The switch nearby activates the machine, which is a teleporter that sends me up to the castle. I ride a platform past the big laser below, and here I am. To start with, there's another Spectre coin to the right. I run off to the right and find a door hidden off to the side. As I follow the path, a monkey in here presses a switch, which sets off the propellers in the middle of the room. At the end of the path is a wall to climb with the propeller. Up here is a switch to shoot that opens up a hatch further down. I drop through it to catch Whopper, the monkey that set everything off in here. On top of the switch I press is another Spectre coin, but while grabbing it I miss the landing and fall to my death. That's all there is to do in here, and I go back out. There's now a pair of monkeys on each side of the front garden flying saucers around. I first shoot down and catch Ginola, and then do the same with Mulder on the other side. That finally opens the front door so I can get inside properly. I seen a container like this at Trick Castle, but couldn't open it. With this one I can just see a monkey clipping through. Still can't break it. To the right and through the door is a hole for the RC car. There's a thin moving platform going along this pit, and I have to move myself and the car along it to get the car to the other end. At the end is a switch that opens the gate in front of it into a corridor, so I can find Colin, the monkey playing pool, and catch him. Out of the corridor and around the corner I find another monkey, Ice Ice, and die chasing him thanks to his gun and the mecha nutcases. Next time I get him. I return to the entrance and instead go straight ahead, past the Spectre portrait and up the stairs. This leads to a door to a room with 2 switches. Pressing both will open a door in the back that closes the second one of the switches is no longer pressed, so I leave it. Nearby is a switch that opens up a door below. Below meaning the end of the room where I caught Ice Ice. Inside is a device that elevates me above the 2 switches where I can catch Maka, who'd been shooting at me below. There's also a Spectre coin off to the side. I get back on the switches and use the dash hoop to get through the door. There's some stairs to the right, but first I go through the big monkey mouth. It leads to a room with another big monkey head. To the right I find I can drop down beneath the catwalk. Down here there's some arches that give me a speed boost, and at the end is a wheel that makes the big monkey head's eyes stick out. Using the arches I have to get back out and up to the monkey head so I can use the eyes to reach the higher platform. First time I land on the eyes, but slip between them and fall. I make it on my second try. Up here is my next monkey capture, Guy. Past where I caught him is a switch that opens at the doorway at the top of the stairs in the previous room. Next to the switch is a hole for the RC car into a cage with large pits in the middle and a monkey to chase out. It takes a few minutes because whenever I chase him out he manages to get back in again, but I eventually get Tiny out and capture him. Back to the previous room, up the stairs and through the door. As I follow this long path up the room, I keep getting attacked by the rocket chimpanoid. It follows me and tries to shoot me off the floor. While avoiding it I also have to hover over a moving electric fence. Past that is an extremely narrow path. No chance. I jump to the nearby platform in the wall and use that to skip them. Then comes bouncing over a pit. Then conveyors that grant me the speed boost I need to jump to this platform on the wall and capture English. Across more platforms and up a slope avoiding huge laser shots, then over another fence and the rest of the path to dawn at the computer and get my next catch. Then up a little bit more is the door leading outside. This is a long level. The recording for this level alone comes to over an hour long. First obstacle is rolling moving platforms, then spinning moving platforms. The ball and chain in the middle knocks me off to my death. After that I propel myself to a higher platform and find a hole for the RC car. The middle one makes this platform rise so I can jump to another one nearby. I spot a monkey below, above the door I entered this screen from, and jump down to try catching it, but I use the propeller too late and miss. Next time I try a different angle and I don't know what happened. I must have just switched off and only remembered to use the propeller when it was far too late, resulting in my most deserved death. Then the ball and chain kills me again. This time I get the angle right and Fatty is captured. Back up to the last platform I was at, I grab the swing and ride across. Looking up, I see a switch and shoot it to create quickly receding sets of steps up to it. A narrow path to a bouncy platform, but I drop to a platform below to capture Cuddles and get another Spectre coin. Then I have to go all the way back around to get up to the bouncy platforms again. Then I have to do it again because the platform somehow bounced me fucking backwards. But once I go all the way back up next time, I make it across. But then comes two wheels controlling what is basically an ice hockey paddle and constant ice hockey puck platforms coming at me. At first they just keep bouncing off. It turns out I have to time the movement of the barrier so that it stops the platform, then take the chance to jump on it before it gets moving again. I ride it back to where it came from and get on the big platform here that moves upwards. I follow the path it leads to, trying to ignore the stronger Hyper Chimpanoid and go through the door. Only it's locked, so I have to kill it. Aside from the attacks the Chimpanoid in the park had, this one also has a flamethrower. But it's killed the same way and the door opens to reveal a switch. This moves the Spectre portrait all the way down on the first floor inside to reveal a lift behind it. Thankfully there's a platform here that lowers me to a now door that puts me back near it. I ride the lift to the next area. There's a platform in front of me that takes me to an obvious boss arena. There's a huge mech behind the barrier here but nothing I can do to it, so I go right and take the next moving platform there. This takes me to the next level up where Spectre is waiting for me. Spectre brags about the size of his fortress, Spike tells him to knock it all off, Spectre gives Spike the offer to be his new Buzz and Spike says no. But Spectre says the helmet will make it easy to control Spike's mind and gives it a try. It doesn't work and Spike resists so hard that he knocks Spectre over. Spike repeats the professor's philosophizing on power at Spectre. Spectre gives up on controlling Spike and settles for killing him instead, so he gets in the head of the giant mech, Goliath. For the first phase of this fight, the camera is from the Goliath's point of view, showing me its targeting reticule so I know where to avoid its shots. I have to get up close and hit it with my club. Not too close or I'll hit the barrier and get bounced back. After a few hits it will start sending out shockwaves. A few more hits and this phase is finished. The platform I'm standing on breaks apart, leaving me to fight the Goliath's full body. It starts by firing several shots into the air that soon drop down, then follows it up with another shockwave attack. It also has a pair of drones that will shoot at me too. After that it's more hand lasers but straight ahead. After that attack, the glowing pink spot on its hand turns a familiar green. But I actually missed that first time and kept trying to find ways to shoot it in the head with the slingshot. By the fourth time, I finally realise and get a shot in. 2 shots of explosive ammo take the right arm clean off. Then 2 shots to the other arm get rid of that. This also breaks open the Goliath's chest. With no arms it will start firing the laser from its mouth, the first one destroying the middle section of the arena, leaving a big gap in the middle. After that a weak point appears in its chest for me to shoot. The middle section respawns and the Goliath shoots it down again. Next shot in. Middle section destroyed a third time and the third and final shot lands, destroying the Goliath. Spectre throws a tantrum while Spike tells him to return to the amusement park. He instead teleports away, warning that he'll be back to conquer the world soon. With this I get the game's first ending. Spectre Castle falls to Earth. The crew of the lab watch it fall and explode, but Spike's alive so everything's okay. Hopefully it didn't land on anyone else. He reaches the group and the game goes to the credits. After the credits we can see that Spectre's show at the amusement park has been cancelled while he's still missing. The Professor says that Spectre will probably show up again soon. And even apart from him, their job isn't over as there are still monkeys left littered all through time to bring back. The Professor will try to track down Spectre while Spike works on the monkeys. And so I'm put back into a time station with the objective to replay every level for the remaining monkeys. I'm also now at 53.6%. All that will have to wait for the next time, but first I have to cover my completion of this level in Ape Escape P. Once again the level name is unchanged on the PSP, but the world name was changed from Present Day 2 to Monkey Madness. Starting this level gets me the trophy, I'm just here for the rides. In Western Land I catch Tyson, renamed Japard, Mankey, renamed Tiger, Kong, who is now called Panther, and Parsley, who has been renamed Leopold, and then get the Spectre coin above the gate. In Spectre Circus I meet the Professor, still die multiple times to the bouncing platforms even more than I did on the PS1, kill a bomb balloon, take 7 minutes to reach the top of the cage, kill the wind-up clown, and free the Professor. Into the Terror Coaster I catch Curtis, now called Niner. While riding the coaster I get the first Spectre coin on it, and this time I get the second one in the air first try. I run into Natsumi and kill Nalele. Behind the door leading to the pit I get another Spectre coin earlier than on the PS1 by jumping in place and using the propeller just past the door. I catch Slime, now Decent. I catch Junior, now Uki E Uk Jr. Lenny, now B Diddy Jr. and Funky, now Method Monkey Jr. All before they can hide in the coffins. That's Natsumi free too. I get told to go to the go-karts by Spectre, trash the Jake Mobile, getting the trophy all together again, and swing Jake around some more to make him too injured to come with me and risk stealing my thunder. I watch Spectre Castle rise from the ground, get the Spectre coin above the teleporter and head up there. I grab the Spectre coin in the front garden, then the one in the side room above the switch before I catch Whopper, now named Andy. Back outside for Genola, now Armstrong, and Mulder, now Gagarin. Doing things out of order next, I catch Guy, now Deanie, and Tiny, now Baxter. More monkeys caught that I didn't in my first PS1 run. I blow the light on the giant monkey head to reveal a hidden room. In here I find another Spectre coin and catch Bizarro. I remember the ones I missed a floor down and go back to get them. First is Colin, now called Tucker, then Ice Ice, renamed Pulsar, then Macca, now called Dick and the Spectre coin near him, then while running from the rocket chimpanoids I catch English, now called Kent, and Dawn, now called Klein. Now in the highest room, I die a lot to those first 2 rolling platforms. I catch Fatty, now called Oliver, and find that with the middle switch pressed with the RC car, I can just jump to the right to find Cuddles, now Carlos, and get that Spectre coin. That's all 10 Spectre coins in the level. I destroy the Hyper Chimpanoid to open up the lift to the boss. I confront Spectre and take down the Goliath, getting the trophy, Is This the End of Spectre? Spectre teleports off, his castle crashes, and Spike and Jake don't get to make hand contact in this version before it cuts to credits. I get told to find the other monkeys, but that's not all I have to do in the PSP version. I have an enemy book which keeps track of which enemies I've killed that I need to complete. Then there's Casey's documents. I don't even want to get into that right now. I end this episode with the PSP completion at 55.2%. This is where part 2 will come to a close. This and part 1 were intended and written to be one whole video, with these games being covered completely in just 2 parts. but some behind the scenes stuff making me make the August and September videos out of order, followed by the combined script being over twice the length I was expecting it to be, I realised it just wasn't possible. That last level alone was a whole fifth of the combined script and took an entire day to write. But look forward to next episode, which will wrap these games up with covering the missing monkeys, the missing Spectre coins, time trials, and other assorted missing completion stuff, mainly added to the PSP version. Back to Ape Escape and Ape Escape P one last time to finish it off. I've already thwarted Spectre's attempt to hypnotise the world, now I just have to recover the remaining monkeys lost through time. One last reminder, some monkeys will have the wrong names due to every source applying each name to a different monkey. So it's all the way back to Ancient Plane. For this next run through all the levels, the Professor has made me the final gadget, the Magic Punch. This allows me to break open certain stronger obstacles and has more range than other melee gadgets. Finishing the training gets me the trophy, Put 'em Up. Ancient Plane has only the one monkey I couldn't reach without the propeller, Exocet. There's nothing much to say about Ancient Plane, it's there to get you used to the game, otherwise it's by far the least interesting level in the game. And over to Ape Escape P to get the Magic Punch there too. Completing the training and getting all the gadgets gets me the trophy, Everything But the Kitchen Sink. I catch Exocet, renamed Uki, and get the trophy, Spike the Completionist, for fully completing a single level. Back to Raining Lake for the last two monkeys. Right away I turn around to see another monkey on a cliff I couldn't reach first time. I propel up and catch Imp. Then along the river is a hole in the wall. I swim through to find a series of slopes to jump up and at the top catch Champ to complete this level. Still a smaller and simpler one, but has much more going on and a more memorable atmosphere than Ancient Plane. In P I catch Imp, now John, and Champ, now Munsart. And to finish off this world with Dinosaur Valley, which still has 3 more monkeys to find. I enter that side area at the start I couldn't do anything with first time. With a slingshot I shoot through the bars to hit the switch that opens them. There's a monkey riding a Triceratops who also throws bombs when I get close. I have to hit the bombs back to upset the Triceratops and make it charge more uncontrollably. 3 times knocks the monkey off and Farmer is captured. Now back into the main area where the moving platform in the wall is. I use a propeller to reach the top and run along to the waterfall. Joe Young is hiding in the corner and I catch him too. That just leaves the monkey riding the T-Rex. I bait the T-Rex into ramming its face into the walls here. 3 hits knocks the monkey off and capturing Moobar completes this stage. Definitely the age's best level with more to explore and do. Those 6 monkeys I've caught bumped my completion up to 57.2%. Back to the PSP, I catch Farmer, now George, then Joe Young, now Agapanther, and Moobar, now Rex. Onto the Cenozoic era next and Jungle River, where I'm missing 8 monkeys and 3 Spectre coins. I start by going straight ahead into another area I never visited first time. Couldn't do anything here first time without the propeller. I use it to reach the mushroom that bounces me to this gate to open. Through the gate is a Spectre statue with a monkey on it. This is Creep and I chase him through the vines to another area to catch him. Over here we get a new enemy, Snorter. Nearby a monkey jumps into a tree that becomes a Tremendous. It'll get into a boxing stance, but hitting its fists will have it rear them back in pain. Do that to both and hit it in the web that represents its mouth. 6 smacks to the gob defeats it and has it spit out Kutaragi for me to catch. Next, back into the area with the UFO I couldn't do anything about first time. I shoot the UFO down and catch Skater. I then use the propeller to climb the cliff at the back to find several rolling boulders coming out of the pair of gates. Between the two is a monkey climbing along a vine. I shoot down and catch Sneakers. Follow the path to the end and come out where I ended this stage first time at the end of the river. I move past the camp to find another monkey getting inside a Tremendous. I defeat it to make it spit out Xmas and capture him. Across the log is the monkey I caught earlier on the PSP, Monkey Guard, called Babs back on the PS1. I also got the Spectre coin above the waterfall that I got earlier on the PSP too. In the first river screen, in that little corner I found my first Spectre coin of a level, there's a monkey way out of reach climbing on vines. But now I have the slingshot I can shoot him down and catch Slacker. Back to the starting area, I get above one of the tunnels to the UFO and boulder screen using the propeller and get another Spectre coin. This one was my 40th, getting me the trophy, Moneybags. Then it takes me a while to find either the last monkey or coin. In the area I fought the first Tremendous, there's a hidden cliff off to the side. It leads down into a cave with the last Spectre coin and the last monkey, Pierre. This is the best level so far. It's both large and packed with stuff to find. I did find it a bit odd though that despite the worlds having separate theming, the first 2 each had a swampy level. 59.6% completion. And with my 40 Spectre coins, I can try the final minigame, Galaxy Monkey, to get the Space Monkey trophy. That was also the final trophy, getting me the Platinum trophy, No Ape Can Escape. This was my favourite minigame of the bunch, a vertical space shooter where the right stick determines the direction you shoot. the best use of both sticks between the minigames. The waves look to be endless and I make it to level 34 before I game over. After that I check the trophies. I wasn't actually expected to get them all this far from finishing the game. Then the Ape Escape P version. I catch Creep, now Lenore. I kill my first Snorter and then Tremendous to get Kutaragi, now called Sultan. Down the cliff into the cave below for the Spectre Coin and Pierre, now Angel. Next is the Spectre Coin in the starting area above the tunnel. On the camp screen I get the Bathing Monkey I missed on the first run, Mr. Smith on the PS1, Ian here. Take out the second Tremendous for Xmas, now called Ukiton. The UFO and Boulder screen next to shoot down and catch Sneakers, now Brian, then Skater, now Adamski. Around the back of the first Tremendous near the Spectre statue is some kind of plant I collect, but forget about right away. That just leaves the Spectre Coin in the corner of the first river screen I forgot first time, and Slacker, now Fox. Now for Dark Ruins. I'm missing 7 monkeys and 3 Spectre Coins. Another one needing the propeller. Right at the start I can get up on the platform in front of me and catch Dustbin. In the fenced-in area where I found Indiana last time, I can climb a pair of poles to reach the level's second Spectre Coin on top of the stone monkey helmet. Then outside the ruins was this section of platforms I completely ignored first time. Jump across them to this tower to find Dizzy on one of the platforms and catch him. At the end of the platforms is more ruins to enter. Right in front of me is a lift that takes me down to this square-shaped obstacle course. First I drop under the bridge I entered from and get the third coin underwater. The room is one way and at the start of the course is Chicken. He runs away across platforms that sink into water, with floors at the sides that have pushing walls. Then a switch that opens the door to the next section, followed by another switch that creates platforms over a pit, since Chicken sank the ones that were there before when he crossed. Then another switch to put me back to the start. It takes a couple loops to get him. I end up swimming up to him from behind and surprising him before he can run again. One section of this room has an alcove to propel into off to the side. It leads to a big totem that rotates and breathes fire. 2 hits for each of the 4 segments to take them out, having a gold coffin open in the back. I jump in to scare out another monkey, Sade, and catch him. Suddenly when I return to the main room there's a second monkey running the obstacle course, but this one has missiles. HB here took 7.5 minutes to get close to and catch, and managed to kill me at least 3 times. Now back into the first set of ruins. There was a Spectre Coin up a slope I couldn't get first time, but I can now with the propeller. The magic punch can let me break open the prison cell and quickly catch Dodo inside. And then ride the nearby lift up to the top of the slope that had the coin, shoot down Bobo who climbs up here, and catch him. Another fun one with a lot to explore, and also one of the most memorable bits of music in the game for me. This one comes to mind most often. Also one that I think benefits from the PS1's much shorter draw distance. It really enhances the lost mysterious atmosphere. 61.9% now. And now P. I catch Dustbin, now Sprocket, then get the Spectre Coin on top of the stone monkey helmet in the fenced area. Get the Spectre Coin on the slope in the first ruins. Inside the prison I catch Dodo, now Chimpantino, kill a rock monkey bouncing around here, then catch Bobo, now David. Then onto the platforms outside for Dizzy, now Wolfgang. Inside the last set of ruins I get the final Spectre Coin onto the bridge and catch Chicken, now Carlikis, much faster than I did on the PS1. Then HB, now Cameron, before he even gets a chance to start running. Then I defeat the Chimpotiki pole, catch Sade, now Akira, to finish the level. Now to finish this age with cryptic relics. 3 monkeys and a single Spectre Coin to find. I hover across the rolling platforms at the start and go inside to find a box. First I shoot the switch across the gap to create a bridge and then push the box on top of another switch to open a gate further on so I can reach and catch Banana. I break through the wall and go into the ruins in the back. This place also has breakable walls to make getting around it easier. One of the side rooms has a series of chips leading to the Spectre Coin using the propeller. Climb all the way up and through these ruins to the next screen. First time I was here I pointed out this monkey in a cage I couldn't reach. Now I can use the RC car to scare him out and catch Street. Now all the way back to the bridge I created at the start. I get on the moving platform, shoot another switch and create a bridge to the last monkey of this age, Hippie. This level is fine, but I just preferred the other 2 of this age more. 63.4%. Then the Ape Escape P run. I catch Banana, now Chimpenberg, then Hippie, now 8-Ball. I then grab the Spectre Coin and Street, now Wooshi. Primitive Beach again, the 3 more monkeys and a Spectre Coin. The beach is already completely emptied, so it's straight to the second screen. Propel myself right at the first wall to catch fish. Across all the bridges to reach the monkey I couldn't get first time as I hit the amount needed to finish the level. Wings jumps into a flying saucer, so I shoot him down and catch him. I drop down below and go through the cave entrance down here, but it just turns out to be the propellerless way to reach fish. Before the final jump I can propel up to the left to find Slug up on one of the walls and catch him. I have to go back into the level to find the Spectre Coin, which turns out to be at the very top of the lift in the cave on the second screen. Not much to this level, but a fun quick one thanks to the beach atmosphere and upbeat music. 64.9% completion. And back over to the PSP. First, destroying the sandcastles on this version gets me the trophy, all your sandcastles are belong to us. I catch Slug, now Odyssey, Wings, now Flatwoods, grab the Spectre Coin, and catch Fish, now Spander. And now Coral Cave, just missing 3 monkeys. Time to finally deal with that monkey riding the shark at the start. Gossip can be a tricky one, and single-handedly killed a few time trial runs later, but it didn't take me too long here. Still on the first screen, I got stuck at this cliff first time, but with the propeller I can get up there now and easily catch Chum. Then inside the cave I shoot up the cannon on the submarine until it breaks open and catch Gerard. This level is also fine, but the one I like the least. Nothing wrong with it, but we've seen plenty of water in caves by now. 66.2%. And now for P. This time Gossip, now McCoy, takes forever to get caught in the net, as in the shark kills me 6 times before I finally get it. Then Chum, now called July, and Gerard, now called Garnet. That just leaves Dexter's Island for this era, missing 5 monkeys and 2 Spectre Coins. With the propeller I can now reach the boat to catch Flipper and collect the second Spectre Coin there. Next to Dexter I use the magic punch to break down this door into a cave. At the end is a monkey napping by a button, Cliff, who is easily captured. The switch here opens a gate that releases a turtle. The intent was to use him to reach the boat. Inside Dexter, I slide down to that last Spectre Coin I found first time through but couldn't reach. The magic punch lets me break through and collect it. I go all the way down to the half pipe where I finished the stage first time to grab that third monkey the stage clear denied me. This one is Gappy. I can now continue through the tunnel into a new room. I climb up and find a room with the Paracebo. This thing is holding the monkey inside itself. It escapes upwards and lowers Fortebran at once. Take out all 4 and the Paracebo drops, giving me the chance to break it open and catch Dali. The last monkey is all the way back at the start of Dexter's Innards. There's this one platform with an RC car slot, so I send it through to scare out Marley and catch him. This is my favourite of this era's levels. It has the most to do and stands out far more than the other two. 68.1%. And then the PSP, where the change in clear requirements first time through leaves me needing just 4 monkeys. This time it seems I have to use a turtle. I catch Cliff, now Geezer, then using the turtle I catch Flipper, now Vince, and get the second Spectre Coin. Then inside Dexter I start with Marley, now Amethyst. I break down the wall for the last Spectre Coin, and here is where I make a correction from part 1. I somehow missed that Ape Escape P has you catch 1 extra monkey first time over the PS1, so I didn't notice when I was writing that I caught all 3 monkeys in the half pipe then. I missed Gappy, who is now called Scott. I then take out the Paracebo to catch Dali, now called Fair Banana. Halfway through the eras now. Next is Frozen Ocean with just a single monkey to find. I use the giant propeller to climb all the way back to the top of the level to find Hey Hey just out in the open. Quick and easy. It's another smaller level, at least small in the context of the second half of the game, but I've always had a soft spot for snowy levels, so I enjoyed this one. 69.2%. On Ape Escape P, I catch Hey Hey, now named Coral. That's all. Moving to Icicle Cave, I'm missing 3 monkeys and a Spectre Coin, one I already found on the PSP. I start by heading all the way to the third area. First I spot the underwater cave off to the side and go through it. It takes me higher up where Shaky comes running out of an igloo. His missiles don't keep me away from him for long and he's captured. First time on the PSP, instead of shooting down the UFO, I climbed up nearby to catch SARS, like catching me on the PS1 where he was called Vertigo. Near the UFO platform is a set of slopes up to a small cave. In here I catch Tracy. That finishes the level, but once again I missed the Spectre Coin. It's the one near a lake off to the side inside the cave. Level's alright, but I just found it the least memorable of the era. I actually forgot these segments were all part of the same level for a while. That's 70.7% completion now. Then the PSP, which will take a little bit more than 1 sentence this time. I catch Shaky, now Curtis. I finally shoot down the UFO to catch Captain, now Octo, and then Tracy, who is now called Diamond. Monkey Hot Springs is missing 3 monkeys and a Spectre Coin. First time the level was cleared in the middle of my climb up the mountain. I continue the climb to the top to find the hot springs the level is named for. Inside here we have the last 3 monkeys. Trying to run from me we have Steps, then dropping down to the big spring to catch Eponymous. Nearby is the final Spectre Coin, and finally Yuppie is under a waterfall. This one is my favourite of the Ice Age. It's snowy and at night, which I love, and both the high-tech base and hot springs are more memorable than just another cave. I'm at 72.2%. And then over to the PSP version. It's exactly the same, everything in the hot springs, which got a neat visual upgrade with all the steam everywhere. I catch Steps, now Brody, then get the Spectre Coin. Yuppie is now Apopolo, and Eponymous is now called Escapees. Tranquil Temple next, the 5 more monkeys and 2 more Spectre coins, both of which I found first time on PSP. The monkey on the roof I caught on the PSP was called Svengali. I shoot him down and catch him here, where he's called Sicknote. While looking up all these monkeys' names, I noticed that in the US localization they named him a slur used against dark-skinned people. I'm assuming the term isn't well known or used in the US then, or at least wasn't back in 1999. Maybe it's a Mario Party 8 situation, if you know you know, but it really threw me off when I was scrolling down the wiki page and saw that word. Inside the temple I climb up into the rafters to find Slippers and catch him. Across to the next one is Donkey, who I also catch. I drop down next to one of the pillars to catch Smelly. I grab the second Spectacon on top of the Buddha statue, then the third one behind the bell outside. Then down the well and shooting this hidden switch on the back wall to move the Spectre statue and grant me access to Reactive. I enjoy this level for being the small one of its era. It helps that there are more monkeys than smaller stages tend to get, so there's the joy of getting a load of collectibles cramped together. I really like the music too. At 74.1%. Thanks to needing an extra catch first time on the PSP, I'm only missing 4 monkeys this time. Near the pillar inside the temple I catch Smelly, now Grasshopper, then Reactive, now Tenpin. Back to the rafters for Donkey, now Samurai, and Slippers, now Go-Go. On the Great Wall I'm missing 2 monkeys and 2 Spectre coins. Back to the second outdoor screen, I pointed out this monkey last time but didn't catch him. This time I do. Bertie's captured. Then in the second indoor area, down at the bottom, is another monkey needing to be scared out by the RC car. This is Coda, and with him caught, I need to go back in and find those Spectre coins. Right at the start, jump to the first mountain on the left and run up it. The second coin is just hidden out of view. Going through the second room and out into the third outdoor area, I can hover over to a mountain on the right. Then from there I can hover over to another with the final coin. This is a good level, but the bad draw distance really throws me off and hampers it. The only level where this is a problem for me. This is one level I enjoy a lot more on the PSP for that. I'm at 75.7% now. In Ape Escape P, the change in first clear requirement has me needing 4 monkeys, but still 2 Spectre coins. I grab the Spectre coin next to the start. I catch Bert, now called Wacky Chan, and then catch Coda, now Chimpune Fat. Now for those 2 monkeys in the final area the revised clear requirement kept me from. First I get the final Spectre coin on the mountain, then I catch Billy, renamed Bruce Oakley, and Ewan, renamed Ookie Wranglin. Then comes Trick Castle, where I'm missing just 1 monkey and 1 Spectre coin, which I already got on the PSP. On top of the castle is the box I couldn't open. With the magic punch I can and catch Paula inside. The Spectre coin I was missing was the one down the cliffs beside the castle. This was maybe my favourite level in the game. Large, with lots to explore and packed with stuff to find. I'd get most of it on the first visit, and a contender for my favourite level theme in the game. 77% completion. Then on the PSP I'm just missing the 1 monkey. Paula from the crate, renamed Sir Blue. For Urban City, I'm missing 5 monkeys and a single Spectre coin. Early in the sewer there was this monkey in a cage needing the RC car to get out. I caught him on the PSP where he was called Cypress. Here he's Grudge. When I reach the large pipe that leads to the rest of the level, I instead keep following the path to find a slope with a slot for the RC car up it that leads onto a switch that creates a series of platforms leading up it. Up here is a cage for the RC car. Inside it I collect the third Spectre coin and press a switch to open a trapdoor beneath me. Right down the bottom I slide into Heston and catch him. He's the one who you can see out of reach when you first enter the sewer. In the room with the slopes and all the barrels to cross, I let myself fall to the lower sections to land on the ledge where there's another monkey. This one is Judas. Going through the pipe in this room and swimming into the underwater tunnel, I find Enea, another monkey I caught in the first PSP run. Here he's called Brownie. Follow the water all the way to the top and I find the monkey that was watching me struggle across all those barrels, goggles, and catch him to finish the level. There's nothing wrong with this level, but I'm not big on a lot of sewer levels and I like the other 2 in this set more. 78.7%. In P, I'm missing the same amount. I get the final Spectre coin and then catch Heston, now called Bronson. In the barrel room, at the pipe on the opposite side, Cobain, now called Pythagorillas, got away, but I catch him this time. And then Goggles, now called Vine. The button here opens up the bar so I can quickly slide down to the lower ledge and catch Judas, now Ogilvy. Then up on that ledge near the exit back to the park is Sharon, now Sid, to catch. In Spectre's factory I'm missing 3 monkeys and 1 Spectre coin. In the room where I have to cross platforms and spiked walls over molten steel, after doing that there's a wall I can break open with the magic punch. Inside I catch Agent 4125. Where there's a switch to lower the giant pipe, I go left onto a lift that takes me down. Down here there's a cage for the RC car. I scare the monkey out of it and catch Quentin. Then back to the switch to lower the pipe, get inside, wait for it to rise until I can see the Spectre coin on top of the next pipe and grab it. Then turn around and jump out the other end to the monkey and catch Pertwee. Don't have much to say about this one, it is definitely a late Game Factory themed level, at 80.2% now. Missing the same stuff on PSP, grab the Spectre coin on top of the pipe, the final one in the game in this version, and then catch Pertwee, now Epiglottis. Below the giant pipe is another of those potted plants in the corner to collect. Then Quentin, now Apelio Apele, and finally Agent 4125, now Olpas. At the TV tower I'm just missing 2 monkeys. Right away, as soon as I start outside the front door, to the left is another crate needing the magic punch. Inside is Joan. The other one is all the way on the other side of the level at the bottom of the lowering platform room. I call this guy first time on the PSP, he was called Oki there, here he's Twiggy. I like this level, felt a bit like Trick Castle but on a smaller scale, so I enjoyed that level more. 81.4%. On the PSP I'm just missing the one. It's Joan at the start in the crate, renamed November. That just leaves Spectreland. I'm missing 3 monkeys and 3 Spectre coins. Those Spectre coins and 1 monkey I've already shown myself catching on the PSP. One of the Spectre coins I missed on the coaster the first time. The second above the door to the pit in the haunted house. The crater where Spectre Castle launched from gains a monkey after you clear the level the first time. Down here I catch Lennon. Then the first room inside Spectre Castle has another crate for the magic punch. Breaking it open lets me catch Hal. Then destroying the light on that monkey head statue to find the final Spectre coin in this version and the monkey I caught first time on the PSP, Bizarro, called Raphael here. This was a fitting final level, suitably massive with a lot of good music and a lot to hunt down without it getting so big that it ends up feeling like there's long stretches of nothing. That's every monkey collected, and I get a message from the professor saying that he has managed to track down Spectre's location. I'm now at 83.3%. Meanwhile in P I'm just missing 2 monkeys. They are Lennon, now Magnum, and Hal, now Turkish. Then I get the message from the professor about Spectre. I now have access to the final world, Dimension, and its one level, Final Get. Nothing else but the objective to catch Spectre, for real this time. They have a pretty standard hero-villain chat. Why if strong, not be evil? Because I'm not a dick. But then Spectre asks how the man who raised him is, meaning his trainer at the amusement park. He acts like he doesn't care, but Spike picks up that Spectre may secretly want to go back, and that he may be forgiven if he just apologises. That rattles Spectre, who asks why he should have to apologise for becoming super powerful. Spike tries one last time to get him to realise the peak point helmet is controlling him and that he should throw it away, leading into the final boss battle. Spectre floats in his chair high above the arena and teleports around. He charges an electric blast and throws it down. The explosion itself is quite large and it sends out several shockwaves I need to jump over. I have to take the chance between attacks to pelt him with a slingshot. After taking just 2 shots, Spectre starts flashing. Another 2 shots has his throne exploding and crashing to the ground. But Spectre still has a barrier and tries running away from me. He creates various projectiles that surround himself while I beat away at the shield with the magic punch. Eventually the barrier is destroyed, but all those projectiles gang up on me and keep me stunned long enough for it to come back. Then he fires the remaining ones off and kills me. But next time I wait until he's fired them all off before I break the barrier, giving me the chance to hit him again. As I hit him more, he starts smoking. Then he starts flashing alongside the smoke. After enough hits, he falls down stunned and I can finally capture him. After this we cut straight to credits for the true ending. We can see Spike, Buzz and Katie with Spectre back in his regular monkey state. They take him back to the amusement park where Spectre seems happy enough to be back with his trainer. After the credits, Katie realises the time and everyone gets running to not be late. But we never find out what for, as Spectre and his trainer just stare on. Catching Spectre got me to 84.8%. In Ape Escape P, the world is named Dimension X and the level just Final Battle. Nothing's really different, the dialogue is the same, the fight is the same, I catch Spectre, it even takes 2 attempts just like in the PS1. Ending is the same too. But here's something new. I finally remember my potted plants in the time station, the ones I collected from Jungle River and Spectre's factory. After the first clear of Spectreland, 6 of these appear throughout the levels. There's one in Dexter's Island underneath where the turtle was. In Snowy Mammoth at the top of the mountain, one is on top of one of the red pipes. In Crumbling Castle, on the back left corner of the castle roof, I can drop down to a ledge with the next plant. Then one is in the propeller room to the east of the castle in Spectreland. That's 3 banana plants and 3 coconut plants. But I need to actually grow them now. But first I go into the completed monkey book. Checking out 10 entries gets me the trophy Monkey Research. Something new to P is Casey's documents. Collecting the large chips over time will add random files to this, which are just vague musings and sayings. Will I have to get them all? That can wait though, there's still time trials. Catch a certain amount of monkeys as fast as you can for medals from bronze to gold. Collecting chips will also shortly freeze a timer. For this segment, I'll just show every successful gold medal. First the PS1 level, then the PSP level at triple speed. Lucky you get to have a break from hearing me talk. Even my family don't get that privilege. Your first finished run on the PSP also gets you the trophy Run Spike Run.
What? I can't believe it!
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 What? I can't believe it! What? I can't believe it!
believe it.
What? I can't believe it!
What? I can't believe it.
What? I can't believe it!
What? I can't believe it.
What? I can't believe it!
What? I can't believe it. can't believe it.
What? I can't believe it!
I can't believe it.
What? I can't believe it!
What? I can't believe it.
What? I can't believe it!
What? I can't believe it.
What? I can't believe it!
What? I can't believe it.
What? I can't believe it!
All those gold medals finally got me to 100%, but there's one last loose end for the PS1. Winning the free Ski Kids racing tracks unlocks one thing. It's a pain and takes forever. This permanently changes the colour of the menu background and makes it AI harder to race against. That change also removed the markers showing I finished first in each race, so I have to do it again and it takes even longer. I was very glad to finish that because I do not enjoy that minigame and it was the only thing keeping me from being finished with the game. But that is the original PS1 Ape Escape completed. But before we can get to the final thoughts, the ranking and finish this, there's still P, where I am also at 100% but have even more loose ends. First is the enemy book, where I check to see what I'm missing. Some of the missing entries I'm certain I'd killed already though. On the Mysterious Age page I'm missing the 3rd and 9th entries, the 1st entry on the Oceania page, the 1st, 2nd and 4th entries on the Medieval Mayhem stage, the 6th and 7th entries on the Present Day stage, and the 3rd and 6th entries on the Monkey Madness page. For some reason it didn't count the Snorters I killed earlier, so I killed them again. It seems some enemies just need multiple kills for whatever reason. The other one in this age is the Spark Plugs. For Oceania I needed to kill Crabsters. In Medieval Mayhem I needed to kill more Enos and Hanzos. Enos especially refused to be added for a while, then Nutty Knights. In the present day I needed to kill more Killer Coils and Cattens. Then for Monkey Madness it was the Whispermeres and Rocket Chimpanoids. After them the entire enemy book is filled in. Next comes unlocking Casey's documents and growing the plants. Both of these are done by collecting the large chips. Crumbling Castle is the quickest way to collect them, so I spend a while grinding the outside of the castle. Eventually all 6 trees are fully grown. After well over an hour of this, all the documents have been unlocked. I didn't really get the point of these additions really. Now for the minigames. Ski Kids Racing has been replaced with Snow Kids Racing. It's a snowboarding minigame. Playing this for the first time unlocks the trophy Frosty Monkey. I start with a playable Spike, Professor, Natsumi and a load of monkeys. Catching Spectre unlocks Jake and Casey, and getting 100% completion unlocks Spectre. It's a lot of downhill snowboarding. It's not that interesting, but I enjoyed it far more than the skiing minigame. There's bananas to pick up the boosts, I can get knocked on my arse. There's 3 tracks that don't look any different while you're playing, that's about it. There isn't anything to get by winning in this game, but I came in first on all 3 tracks on my first tries. Next is Spectre Boxing, reworked from the first game's boxing minigame. First time playing this one gets me the trophy Warrior Monkey. Once again a large selection of monkeys, with an unlockable tied to winning the tournament. Here the boxing is side on and also much easier to get used to than the PSP minigame. Really not much to say for the boxing itself, the thing it reminds me of most is the boxing minigame from Spyro 3. Stun a monkey and you can mash for a very strong punch. The final match of the tournament looks to be against Spectre, but after that is one more fight against the strong Blue Pippotron. Defeat him to unlock Spectre as a playable boxer, and a survival mode where I get to play as the Blue Pippotron as I take on an endless amount of opponents. The third minigame is Jake Attacks, getting me the trophy, Fancy a Rematch for the first time playing. It's just Jake Attacks Part 1 again. I win. Finally we have the most time consuming one, Ape Ping Pong. This gets me the trophy Sporting Monkey. That also gets me the Platinum Trophy, Monkey Master. Once again I have another selection of monkeys to choose from. I once again have to win a tournament. It's ping pong. There is nothing to say about this other than a tournament takes an eternity. When you're ready to be finished with a game and the only thing you're missing is tied to a long ping pong minigame, you get a bit fed up. Eventually I face Spectre, then after him is the Yellow Pippotron. I finally defeat him and win the tournament, unlocking Spectre in this mode too. That's Ape Escape P completed too. Ape Escape is a very good game, to the point I wonder why I decided to wait so long to play it, especially when I already played Ape Escape 2 8 years before this first one. I like 3D collectathon platformers, I like being able to return to previous areas with new equipment to discover new things. Soundtrack is great, the monkeys themselves are very endearing. The only parts I didn't like were the optional minigames. And despite the gameplay compromises made in Ape Escape P, I still feel like the game's enjoyability comes through perfectly fine. The vast majority of the time it just takes a bit of adapting, and I played these two back to back and didn't have a problem with that. As for the ranking, I knew from the very beginning that this would make it into the top 25, and it didn't take long to decide on the exact spot either. Both games will be ranked together in 20th place, above GoldenEye on the N64, but below Ys Book 1 and 2. They could have made it to 19th, but I just really loved Ys more. Ape Escape is a series I definitely want to continue on the channel. I don't know how long it will take, but I am looking forward to checking out Ape Escape 2 again to see how it compares now I've played the original.